the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. Learn your foreparents' ancient divine creed. Since 1913 I've been planting the seeds. Enemies planted, agents, I had to leave. I know it was abrupt, but bear with me please. Among the many teaching, man have two selves. These are lower and higher. You want the one that justice breeds. Uplifting the Moors, be yourself is what you need. Ancient forefather didn't salat on their knees, not even under his own vine and fig tree. Islam. 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 About to get started, we'll just give our honors. So we'll face the Yusuf is that way.
What's your honors in here?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I don't want you facing the front.
Exactly.
Are you sure?
Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. His holy prophet. Noble True Ali. Islam. Peace and no thought. Welcome again to Noble True Ali Day celebration in Canaanland. This is our 5th annual. You already know we don't do black time and stuff like that, so whoever's not here, they're on their own.
Is that black time?
Yeah, which is it?
That's being on time.
Right? We're going to start off with a reading by the Prophet Noble True Ali from October 1928. One of the important things that we have to consider with regard to Noble True Ali is that he wasn't presented to the people in the same form and fashion like everybody else who we consider liberators of our people. For some reason, Noble True Ali's been pretty much kept secret, and everybody else talked about it. Everybody else has, books about him and whatever like that. When it comes to Noble True Ali, only Moors have information to put out on Noble True Ali, amongst everybody else that's out there. So we have to accept the fact that there has been, and there's going to continue to be a conspiracy against the teachings of Noble True Ali, because in his own words, he brought everything that it takes to save a nation. And we have to take those things that he brought and save ourselves with it. It's that simple. Like Brother Nature was saying yesterday, if we can't convince the people to get down with the movement, don't worry about them. Let them do their nigger stuff that they do. Because we can't keep, stopping what we're doing to go get them. And then stop what we're doing to go get them. But then, when people ask what the Moors got, they're not considering we're working to try to wake up people. We don't have time to build stuff right now, because if we build stuff, it's still going to be empty, because people's mindset isn't where it's supposed to be. So it doesn't make sense to do stuff without having the people's consciousness where it's supposed to be, so that the things that they do are effective. Right? So Noble True Ali, among other writings, told the Moors who were taught by him to make sure that you tell the people these stuff that I'm telling you, so that they don't go out there and throw this thing away. Right? So this is called Divine Warning by the Prophet Noble True Ali. Every temple and head is to function by words, deeds, and actions, imitating the Prophet. especially when teaching a group of Moors, any group of Moors. These are the general laws. The supreme laws will be handed to you later. The heads of all temples are to submit a monthly report of all finance. The heads of all temples are to refrain from all wrathful words, profanity in the mildest form, from all members of his or her temple. They must live the life of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and refrain from all alcoholic liquors or any other harmful possibility that will terminate to destroy peace or any other of the divine principles. They are not to contribute to anything that will cause the public to disagree with him or her. And for one to lead a group of Moors, you must keep your house clean. Clean with good deeds, kind words. Your wives, brothers, must hear good works, kind works, and must know of your good deeds. If there are children, you must see to their support. Follow this divine principle, for if you don't restrict to this divine principle, then you are not a true Moor. And the heads are not to charge for membership, or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by the Prophet. Those who contribute to either of the preceding are not Moors, but robbers. Membership, sisters and brothers, is free, not only here, but all over the world. The button is 25 cents, the card 25 cents, and 1 month's dues are paid. Every member pays 50 cents a month for dues. This money goes toward the support of the temple. This, if not paid, does not entitle you to the protection that is provided for you, and especially if you are not working or in a position to work. If you neglect to fulfill this small duty assigned to you, how can you rightfully expect money or other help when you are sick or otherwise disabled? And to be a real Moorish leader, you must study the Quran and divine constitution that is handed down unto you by I, the Prophet. The head of all temples can maintain an emergency fund, which cannot exceed the amount of 25 cents to 50 cents per week per member. All public collections and dues also go to the support of the temple and its domestic work. The head of every temple must by law obey the word of the Prophet. And if any head leader or any head of any temple fails to obey these laws, embezzlement is the charge and is subject to enforcement by law of the grand body. And the penalty may be fine or removal from office or placed under a heavy restriction of the law. Supreme words of the Prophet Noble Ali. So those, Islam. So those are, some words of inside information that the general public of Moors were supposed to find out about during the Prophet's time, so that we wouldn't have to be here now begging people to be down with this, right? Because it would have been natural to them. They would have been born knowing that they're Moor, just like they were born knowing that they're Negroes, just like they're born knowing they're black, born knowing that they're colored, born knowing that, celebrate Christmas and New Year's, Thanksgiving, April Fool's Day, or whatever like that. Born knowing that you go to school, you get, a lunch and 2 breaks and whatever like that. So we have to consider Noble Drawley in its full context, and to assist us with that, we got 2 individuals that I would say are, studious and in their own right, capable of speaking on Noble Drawley and the importance of recognizing and standing up behind this man. So the first part of today is going to be another presentation by Brother Seton Rabe. For those who don't know, it's been an honor knowing that individuals outside of Canaanland respect this to the point that they're going to come from wherever they're at all the way here to teach some classes. They go anywhere. You can travel anywhere. Moor goes all over the place, all different territories with Taj, Abdullah, everybody else. And for him to take his time to come out here to make sure that we get this thing straight is, honor. So we make sure that we give him a platform every time he comes here so that he can get the people onto what we need to be on with regard to this movement. So, first up, Brother Seth and Rob May, please give him a round of applause.
Islam, family. Islam, family.
Islam. Yeah.
I'm gonna point one thing out before I get started. I like to do interactive classes, so that means y'all sitting back there too. Y'all not excluded. I'm gonna talk to y'all, but I'm not gonna preach to y'all. So I'm gonna talk to y'all gonna talk back to me, and we're gonna have a good time here today. I'm going to reread this divine warning. I just want to point out a couple things that will go in line with what we're gonna talk about today. So I'm gonna reread it. Divine warning by the prophet Moor Ali. General laws as said by the prophet Tuesday, October 17, 1928. And as I'm reading too, if I say anything that strikes you and moves you in any way, then stop me and then we'll talk about it. All right? Every temple and head is to function by words, deeds, and actions, imitating the prophet. So we stop right there. The very first sentence. I got contacted by Cujo probably about 2 months ago. Guy had come into the knowledge maybe 5 years ago, and then he said it was a little bit too much for him. He couldn't keep up. So he wanted. You know, he went in, he started studying the Wild House. Dr. York, forgive me. Dr. York. He started studying Dr. York, and he started studying a bunch of other stuff. And somehow he found his way back to more science. So he ended up seeing a video of the last Noble Duality Day we did. And of course, Cujo said, all right, the brother came up from Philadelphia. This brother just happened to be in the Philadelphia territory. So he watched the video and he said, cool. He got in touch with Cujo to get in touch with me. So when I finally did get in touch with him, he told me he went to a temple in Philly and he knocks on the door. So they come to the door and they say, that's it, just look at it. So he said, I came to proclaim my nationality. So he said, he looked him up and down, looked over his shoulder, looked up the street. He said, come on in. Now, I don't think the prophet acted like that. That first line right there said that you're supposed to act like that you're supposed to be in the same way the Creator said, I created you in my image. If you're a grand sheik and you're the sheik of a temple, then you need to be conducting yourself as a sheik and as a grand sheik should. You shouldn't be looking people up and down when they're coming off the street, because people got to understand one thing. Your nationality is yours to proclaim. It's not anybody's to give to you. That's got to be clear. That's got to be first and foremost. So they looked my man up and down. They gave him a hard way to go. So he was there for about 3 months. They called him an internet Moor. They told him that you studying behind Taj and RV Bay and Canaanland and all these other cats. They said they internet Moors. They said the prophet was around long before the internet. You need to be here. All right, but I came here, and then you looked me up and down like I was getting ready to hijack the joint. And now that I'm here, and I don't got literature from you, I have the literature. I have a Circle 7 Holy Quran, but I didn't get it from you. That's a problem. They told him you're supposed to get them books from here. Where you getting them from somewhere else for? What difference do it make? What difference does it make where I get the book from? I have it. I'm studying what I should be studying. Long story short, he ended up in class with us. Especially when teaching a group of Moors, any group of Moors. These are the general laws. The supreme laws will be handed to you later. The heads of all temples are to submit a monthly report of finance. The heads of all temples are to refrain from all wrathful words, profanity in the mildest form from all the members of his or her temple. They must live the life of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now we already know that the majority of them don't. I don't belong to any specific temple. The only temple that I belong to is the one that stands here in front of me. But I come here to come to your temple because I enjoy hanging with my brothers. And so to speak, if you want to say fellowship with my brothers. To come up here and get some information from Fujo, from Amari, from Omar, from you, from everybody. See, because if we're supposed to operate as a nation, then we need to do that. It's not the end of the world for me to come up here. It's not like it took all my finance in the world. As Fujo said, I go from here to there to there to there. I've been to quite a few temples, and it's only a couple that I'll ever go back. And in fact, I'll be honest, the only ones I'll go back to from the ones I've been to is Grand Sheik Obey and Canaanland Moor. That's it. From all the rest of the temples I went to, and I see how they operate, and I see what's going on, I ain't going back. They're not operating as they were instructed to. They must live the life of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and refrain from all alcoholic liquors or any other harmful possibility that will terminate to destroy peace and any other divine principles. They are not to contribute to anything that will cause the public to disagree with him or her. They got this little platform called Facebook. And on Facebook, that's all you get. It's a bunch of, they love him. He public enemy #1 on Facebook. I hate to see what happened if they catch him on a dark alley by himself. But that's what you got. And they say right here that you ain't supposed to be doing that. But they doing. They're trying to drag Taj Treatway through the mud. And over the past 25 years, and I'm not saying this just because Taj is my man or my teacher, but over the past 25 or 30 years, who put out more literature? Who put out more DVDs? Who's taught more people than Taj Treatway? Somebody tell me, somebody tell me. Somebody put me in my place. I know this man personally. I know his heart. So everything that everybody else is saying about Taj, save it. Let me look in the camera and say it, save it. They are not to contribute to anything that will cause the public to disagree with him or her. And for one to lead a group of Moors, you must keep your house clean. Clean with good deeds, kind words. Your wives, brothers must hear good words, kind words, and must know of your good deeds. If there are children, you must see to their support. Follow this divine principle, for if you don't restrict to this divine principle, then you are not a true Moor. And the heads are not to charge for membership. I ain't gonna read the rest of it. The heads are not to charge for membership. I was in the car last week after I finished the class in Philly, and a brother said to me, "Can you nationalize me?" I told him no. So he got a little sad. Because I can't. That's yours. I can't nationalize you. All you need to do is just say, I am that I am. I am who I am. As simple as that. Paperwork is just a formality. Can I seal this paperwork? Yeah, I can do that. I'll put a seal on it for you. I'll sign it. I'll witness it. But that's as far as I can go. Am I supposed to charge him 1,500 notes for that? Am I supposed to charge him 3,000 notes for that? Because that's what's going on out there. And he was just said right there that he ain't supposed to charge. Your nationality is yours. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the attempted assassination of a nation. That's just a slide announcement today. Let's talk a little bit about the attempted assassination of a nation. What I mean by that? When I say the attempted assassination of a nation, it's pretty much self-explanatory. But you got to figure, through all that we've been through, we still here. And we still standing. And although there have been some assassinations in the physical form, in the mental form, and in the emotional form, we still stand. I don't know if we're stronger now than we were then. I wasn't back then, so I can't say, I can't speak. But The one thing I can say is that we're still standing. You got a question?
No, I was just gonna answer your question as far as the assassination. The discredited and blackening of something that is good and pure.
Speak up, I didn't hear you.
The discredited of a nation, making it blacker than it is as far as assassinating the character.
Well, we can go that route too. Assassinating the character. I mean, you got to figure. Yesterday I was telling the class. I heard a comedian say, "My great grandfather was Negro, was colored. My grandfather was Negro. My father was black, and I'm African American. What are you going to call my son?" See, your character has been assassinated. Just, you know what I'm saying? So when you talk about the assassination of a nation, we're not just talking about it in physical form. You can be assassinated verbally. You can be mentally assassinated where you never come back from the dead. We see that, that's evident. We walk past people every day. We got people in our families who are mentally dead. And it don't matter how much CPR or how many defibrillators we use and get the shock in their hearts, they just ain't gonna start beating. I put the definition of a nation up there. A nation, a people or aggregation of women and men existing in the form of organized jural society, usually inhabiting a distinct portion of the earth, speaking the same language, using the same customs, possessing historic continuity, and distinguished from other like groups by their racial origin and characteristics, and generally, but not necessarily living under the same government or sovereignty. Now, you can't see it, it's pretty bright in there, but you can't see it, but over here where it says by their racial origin, I underlined and I highlighted the word racial, because that's the definition from the Black's Law 4th edition. And although we go to the Black's Law 4th edition, you got to still be able to read. You got to still be able to see when they put the nonsense in there. Because taking like groups by their racial origin, if we're talking about racial origin, then it's only one race. So there can't be like groups with any racial origin. It's the human race, that's it. That's it. They still won't even make a reference to nationality. For you to be clear. So the point that I'm making is this. When you read stuff like this, don't just start at nation and read the definition and go through it and move on to the next page. Become what you read. Because when you become it, you absorb it. And then you can see the little nonsense like that. When did the attempted assassination start? I'm gonna pose that question to all of you. See if anybody can tell me. When did the attempted assassination start? Y'all can guess it, man, you know. No?
When the Europeans over here.
What's that?
1760.
1760?
I was going to say 1779.
What'd you say, Chief?
Yeah, when the Europeans came over here.
What'd you say, Omar?
1492.
Sunday, October 11, 1492. Sunday, October 11, 1492. That's when Colombo arrived in the Caribbean. Now, this excerpt right here is from his journal, or what they say is from his journal. So let's take a look at what he said. Well, I'll read it from back there. It's a little blurry up there. I can't see down there either. We saw naked people, and we went ashore in a boat with armed men. And I took the royal standard, and the captains each took a banner with the green cross. Now up here on the screen, I highlight armed men because you show up to a new land, and you automatically come off the boat with weapons. That means you got ill intent. If you come off the boat with armed men, you got ill intentions. Now, if I'm not feeling safe, and I'm feeling like somebody coming to get me, I might take my one guard. But that's a armed men. You know they didn't come light. They didn't come light. They had intentions. When I stepped ashore, we saw fine, bright green trees, streams everywhere with different kinds of fruit. I called to the two captains to jump ashore with the rest, asking them to bear solemn witness that in the presence of them all, I was taking possession of this island for their Lord and Lady, the King and Queen. They wasn't on no exploration mission. If you on an exploration mission, you show up, you take a peek, and you say, all right, cool, we found land, there is something over here, let's go back and let them know. But no, he got off the ship with swords. He got off the ship with armed men, and then he put his flag on the island and said, I'm claiming this land for the Lord and Lady, the King and Queen. They had intentions. So many of the islanders gathered around us. I could see that they were people who would be more easily converted to our religion, not by force or coercion. More easily converted to their religion. All of this is October 11, 1492. It's 2015. What's the date? January 11, 2015, and we still suffering from this. You want to know when the attempted assassination started? It started a very long time ago. However, they appear to me to be a very poor people in all respects. They go about as naked as the day they were born, even the women. They carry no weapons and are ignorant of them. Let me ask y'all a question. They still walk around naked in some tribes in Africa.
Yeah.
They still walk around naked in some places in South America.
Yeah.
Does it make them poor? No. Not at all. It doesn't make them poor. They just ain't been exposed to all the bull that we've been exposed to. They think they're crazy because if you go down to South America and crack open a peach, that they take the flesh off the peach that we eat and crack open the seed and eat the seeds out the middle. And they say that they're crazy. That's the Albion for you. That's the Albion's way of thinking. But this is the way you used to live. My man said they were naked as the day they were born, and they look poor. They carry no weapons and are ignorant of them. Why not? By nature, we're peaceful people. That's by nature. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been so welcoming. Just to let them come right on. I mean, listen, I don't know about y'all, but today, if I had never seen an Albion before, and I looked in that mirror and saw my man walking by right now, I'd be thinking, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's just the way I'm thinking. What the hell is that? And I probably wouldn't be so welcome. I'd probably be, yo, go get Cool Joe with them all. Yo. You understand? They had no weapons and they were ignorant of it. We use bow and arrows better than anybody. We hunted. We use spears better than anybody. We probably didn't use them on each other. The Albion don't know nothing but death and destruction. That's it. When they showed up here, they didn't come here with no good intentions. In fact, even today, when Albion, the United States Corporation or Canadian Corporation, when they go anywhere, they got intent on taking land or wherever they go. It's been going on since before that. You can go all the way back to Kemet. This ain't the beginning, this is the beginning over here. I believe they will readily become Christians, as it appears to me that they have no religion. Now, if I showed that to some, if I went to church, if I just showed up, if today this was your church, and I showed up, y'all probably would cut my throat and bleed me like a pig. If I said, that Christopher Columbus said, that I think that they will readily become Christians. So that means when he showed up, it showed up. Said when he showed up, it showed up. A mental assassination. Some brought us water, some brought us food. This is Sunday, October 14, 1492. Others saying that I did not wish to go ashore swam out to us, and we understood them to be asking if we had come from heaven. That brother back there got a pretty thick accent, and I can understand what he's saying. But some people not going to be able to make out what it is that you're saying to him. So if I can't make out what it is you're saying, how in the hell can I assume that you're thinking I come from heaven? If you just start, you just start going and going, and he got a heavy accent, and I'm gonna just assume, oh, they must think we guys. They think we from heaven. They keep bringing us water. Probably because they know you dehydrated. You might be cracked, and you might be looking like you died of thirst. It's a mental assassination. These people have little knowledge of fighting. As your majesties will see from the 7 I have captured to take away with us, so as to teach them our language and return them. The 7 that he captured, that's that magical number, right? The 7 that he captured to take back, to teach them their language and to bring them back here, so they can screw up the rest of us. Assassination started a long time ago. You can't see the picture, but that's a bunch of bodies laying around. The start of the attempted assassination. Because that's what my man left in a week. Anybody know how many was said that had been left dead when he left? Anybody got any clue? Over 50,000? Because when he left, when he took them 7 back, he came back. And when he came back, his thing was, with the right amount of men, we could take over the whole land. So they came back, and that's what they did. Started slaughtering people and taking over the land. Just in case you was wondering who was here, you can read the journal, but I wasn't going to go all the way through. Just in case you was wondering who was here, that's a picture of 2 Olmec heads. There's some discrepancies in the dates. 2500 BCE, some people say 2000, however. So you could take them 2,500 years plus the 1492, and you get 3,992. That's how long they were there before my man showed up. Just those statues. Now, I say it all the time. Is it a coincidence? Let's just say all the brothers in this room and everybody in this room, we take a ship from Africa and we show up down in Central America. Is it possible that we made that much of an impression that they say, you know what, we're gonna make some statues look like these dudes and none that look like us, and let them stand for all of eternity? Where the statues of the Indians at? Where they at? Ask yourself. Then they gave you this. It says between the 15th and 19th centuries, Europeans told you that they brought over 12 million slaves to the present day Americans, telling you your history started in this land at that point. And at the bottom it says mental assassination. How many people believe the slave trade existed? Just by show of hands. Just you. You a little bit. You believe it?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
To what extent?
When you really rationalize the facts of how long it took to travel, how many people would die, and it just doesn't make sense.
How long did it take,
Well, from what I've heard, it's about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have death and dehydration and stuff like that. So it just, within the time span from 1492 till when the slave trade ended, it just doesn't make sense. You lose more of your property than you would bring it over.
Why do you think that?
Well, I don't want to get you too off topic of where you're going, but I know what did happen was that for hundreds of years there were Moors living in Europe, and all the major places. So Germany, France, Italy, Spain, England, and it's documented that in the 14th and 15th century, the rulers of those countries officially took away the right to land, the right to business, the right to own property from the Moors as well as Jews, so-called. And so with that, you have to ask yourself, where did these people go?
Which people? Which people? You mean Europeans or you mean Moors?
The Moors living in Europe.
Okay.
And I would figure that these Moors, of their own accord, found their way to parts in Africa as well as found their way to the Americas, where they may have had connections and relatives, as well as, you know, may have found themselves in uncompromising situations where they were obviously, if I take away your land right today, you have a mortgage, I take it away. I take away your car, I take away everything you have. What do? First of all, you don't want to be there in that jurisdiction where they're taking your stuff away. Second of all, you might have to go somewhere, but you may not have connections. Some of you might, some of you might not. And those people who are unfortunate may have got scooped up. To me, that's the slave trade. It started with taking all those people who were being expelled from Europe, taking them into the Americas, and taking people from the Americas and bringing them into Europe as slaves, because the people who were in Europe as Moors had property. They were people who were people in society, and so those people, they were taking away their status.
So essentially what you're saying is the slave trade was conducted by Moors. That's what you're saying.
No, the slave trade involved Moors, but it involved everybody. It's like an industry. It's like, you know, sugar. It's like cell phones. It's like cars. Every country has. Most countries make their own car.
The transatlantic slave trade took place, but nowhere near the scale of what they told us. Nowhere near the magnitude. They told us 12 million people, right? You said it took 3 months. That's correct. Anywhere between 3 to 5 months. There's a natural phenomenon that happens every 3 months. What is it?
Current.
Speak up. The changing of the seasons. The changing of the seasons make it an impossibility for the slave trade to have happened on the magnitude that they told us. Why?
Couldn't travel.
In order for you to travel that far, now, by their account, they said it was 100 to 200 people per ship, per trip, right? All right. 3 months, who can survive without water? Nobody. Now, today, the Navy filters the water from the ocean so they can wash, so they can drink, so they can cook. I didn't say they transported water on those ships. I said they filtered the ocean water so people can eat and wash and drink. You know why? Because water is too damn heavy to put on the ship and try to tow it. So, where did they get the water for people for 3 to 5 months, for 200 people? Where did they get the rations for the slaves and the crew?
They go to the washroom.
Well, they was laying head to foot. They went to the washroom on each other, from what they tell us. Nobody could survive. But outside of that, the mother said that the seasons changed, right? They went from Portugal to the west coast of Africa to the Caribbean. On the west coast of Africa, hurricanes form. And they take the path down into the Caribbean islands and up into the Gulf of Mexico and up the east coast of what's called North America. Now, hurricane season is from May until November. Does it make sense to take all of these ships out in the middle of hurricane season? It's a near impossibility. That water got to be so rough. And today, they got decks on ships, so there ain't no water going through. They have wooden ships with wooden slats, so water's going through, drowning people getting sick, people getting seawater. It's impossible for them to have bought from 1620 to 1830 or 1840, 12 million people. They would have had to have ships in constant rotation. It's an impossibility. They told you that's where your history started, and we could be. We ate it up like it was nutrition. Man, they brought us over here, and we got people who actually pissed off. They brought us over here on them ships. They brought some of us on ships. Them statues that we just looked at said we was here already for 4,000 years when they showed up. They brought some of us on ships. That's the mental assassination. When they kill your mind, when they kill your brain, the body can't live. The voyage from Spain or Portugal to the west coast of Africa, then onto the Atlantic Islands, took at least 3 months. And it says weather conditions would cause us to be even longer. That's just the image. of how they said you was on the ships. It don't even make sense when you look at that picture. How they gonna put people in there that way? How they put people in there like that? It don't make sense. It's a near impossibility when you look at it. It don't make any sense. And even what's even crazier is this one. When they show you this one, and I mean, come on, man, they look like a bunch of too. I can't even say nothing that's so stupid to me. I can't honest. I mean, look at it. And that's on the bottom of the ship, right? So I'm telling you, I mean, you know what's on it. This ship is rocking, you got water coming through, you got rain going on, especially in a hurricane. And the tsunami, and all of them crazy waves that's out in the middle of the ocean. You telling me that they told the people like that, shackled hand and feet? And that's how you got here?
Okay, question. Presenting that concept to, because is this something that they present to the world, or is this something that's specific to people in North America that
Now,
are absent-minded?
to be honest, I can't answer that question because I've never been to school anywhere else. But they shove it down your throat in North America.
You said 12 million, right? They said they transported 12 million.
12 million.
So if a ship holds 200, how many trips is that?
What? 600 million or something? Who knows? I don't know.
That's a lot of trips.
That's a lot of trips. So the point is they would have had to have ships in constant rotation. As soon as one docked, the next one is pulling up. One leaves, one comes.
See, the first time that Prime said that to me, that's what struck me. Because I don't think at that time there were enough ships.
Right.
Because it's like the Portuguese were doing it, the Spanish were doing it, the Dutch were doing it. Everybody was doing it. How many ships were there?
I got one better for you. I got one better for you. If they did it today, how long do you think it would take? You can get on a cruise ship. You can get on a cruise ship and leave from Seattle and go up to Alaska and come back, and it takes 14 days. From Seattle to Alaska, and that's a 14-day cruise. And they can put a nice amount of people on them ships. But if they were going to bring 12 million people today, it's still going to take them a while to do it. You got unique provisions for these people. These people need water, these people need food. And on top of that, you still got to account for the seasons change.
Listen, 60,000 ships.
Yeah,
60,000 ships.
60,000 trips.
60,000 ships.
Ships.
Yeah.
Sure, 60,000
60,000 trips.
600,000.
I ain't got 60,000 trips. You can't pay me to keep going. Listen, look, I need to see my wife and children. I'm not going.
Also, there are no records of like industry as far as shipbuilding are. Like, they don't have any records of that.
Man, Albion didn't have that kind of technology.
Right.
Everything Albion got, he got from you.
Right.
He got from you. 60,000 ships. That's what people gonna say. You saying the slave trade didn't happen. I ain't saying it didn't happen. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it didn't happen on the scale that they said. There's a documentary. It's called Black Grandma in the Closet. And that's done by Henry Louis Gates. Another sellout. His children in here. I gotta catch myself. Yesterday. But another sellout, Henry Louis Gates. And it's a 4-part documentary. If I'm not mistaken, they go to Mexico, Peru, Brazil, and Cuba. They go to these 4 places. And the whole premise of the documentary is to explore the African presence in these lands. Right? So they're going out into the bush, and they're going to talk to people, say, yo, bro, what you know? And he said, well, my great-great-grandpa, he looked like Cujo. In all these different places. When they went to Mexico, there's a town in Mexico, all the way on the west coast, under Cabo, California, where everybody in the town looks like us. There are no light-skinned Mexicans. Is it a coincidence that it's the poorest town in Mexico? In all of Mexico, that's the poorest town. What's the Mexico? When they go to Brazil, you talk about Brazil, there are more African descended people in Brazil than anywhere else in the world except in the Congo. When you're talking about one concentrated place, one country, outside of Zaire, there are more people who look like us in Brazil than it is here. That's a lot of people, but when you see people, when you look at videos, things like that, you see little light-skinned chicks, and J-Lo looking chicks, but they don't show you, they ain't showing you what's going on. Watch the documentary, because in the documentary, it slipped up. What's it called again? Black Grandma in the Closet. In the documentary, they slipped up. They said that they bought 4 times as many slaves to Brazil as they did to North America. So when I heard that, you know me, I'm me a pen, piece of paper. And they bought 12 million to North America, and they took 4 times as many to Brazil. That's 48 billion. 48 million. Impossible.
Oh yeah, and 60,000 ships.
No, that was the 12 million. So do the numbers on 48 million. That's 200.
40,000 ships.
See? Come on, man. Come on, man. When you talk about the attempted assassination of a nation, when they take from you your history, when they take from you your culture, and I'm saying, see, now I'm saying they, because what we're going to go into is not, it's not going to be they or them that's taking it from us. We're going to ease into how the hell we've been going. But I just want you to see, anytime you want to deal with a problem, you got to go to the root of the problem. You can't just go, you can't say, all right, my leg hurt. Well, what you want me to do? Did you fall? Did you trip? Did you twist it? We got to get to the root of how your legs started hurting. Is your blood pressure okay? Are you eating? Are you drinking water? So if you just say, my leg hurt and I'm the doctor, I can't fix it. What the hell you want me to do? Shake it. You might feel better. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But you got to get to the root of the problem. So when you talk about the attempted assassination of a nation, let's go to the root. Let's go to the root. I put on there, I'm just cutting up. I said, you're going to piss a lot of people off. That's cool. Let them call me. This is the mental disconnect that Asiatic people in the Americas suffer from. When I say the Americas, I'm talking about where we are in North America. I'm talking about Central America. I'm talking about South America and the islands. It's all America. Go to the Organization of American States and see for yourself. They got a little conglomerate that they put together called the Organization of American States. Each one of y'all that's descended from a specific island, go see as a woman. And then they try to tell you need a green card to come on. It's America. I give an example of me. Philadelphia is a pretty big city.
Well,
I live in
before you go there, say that thing about the American states again.
the Organization of American States.
Yeah, and the islands being attached to America, because it has to be clear.
When you talk about America, it's a disconnect. It's a mental disconnect. You'll have somebody say, in fact, I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, I came up here for Carabana, and we were walking down the street, and it was a sister from Jamaica, and she kept on calling me and my cousins Americans. Well, we gotta wait for the Americans. The Americans, they taking all day, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, you up here to have some fun. You're gonna go see the parade, just be cool, don't get on. But when she kept saying it, I couldn't take it. Because I know. So I can't just sit here and just listen to her be ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I mean her not knowing. I can't listen to that. I said, listen, I said, do you think that you're something different than I am? She said, you from America. I said, well, where you from? I'm Canadian. I said, well, where the hell is Canada? Is it not in North America? Did I just not come a little further up the street? But her descent is from Jamaica. So I needed her to understand that that island that you descended from is an American island. When I say American, I don't mean the United States Corporation. When I say America, I mean the land of North, Central, and South America and the adjoining islands.
Right.
People make the mistake because of the disconnect when you say, I wish anybody got a map? Is any maps in here? No map?
No.
All right, so when you look at the map, let's just say this is North America, right? Do y'all realize that where we are right now, or what they call Canada, is bigger than what we call the United States? So how could that little piece of land that's called the United States be all of America? Now, I'm gonna give y'all the test. Y'all got my number, and if you don't, I'm reachable. Go and look at a map of North America and South America. You'll see on the map, on the continent of South America, it'll say South America. South and America right under. Now, go and look at a map of North America, and I promise you that what you're going to see is that fake border. You'll see North up here where Canada is, and you'll see America in the middle of the United States. See, that's a mental disconnect. That's that assassination that I'm talking about now. If you can't connect those dots, you can't see that they messing with your head. You can't see that they messing with your head. They put North above the border and America down here because the United States to the rest of the world represents America. But when, like I said yesterday, when you go to the Olympics or you go to the United Nations, Barack Obama's not the American president. He's the president of the corporation called the United States. Hugo Chavez was the president of Venezuela, an American president.
Well, they show you on TV, right, for the Pan Am game on Global. It says Pan Am Games, Pan American Games.
For the Pan American
It says
Games.
41 countries. Right on TV screen.
It's right there. But you got to be able to see the disconnect. They got you thinking that if you go to Cuba, if you go to Jamaica, if you go to Haiti or Trinidad, that you went somewhere else. You didn't go nowhere. That land is right, listen. It takes about 30 minutes to get to Jamaica from Florida. You telling me I went somewhere? It's going to take me 30 minutes to get from here to the airport. You trying to tell me I went international? You trying to tell me I went somewhere totally different? Look at the Organization of American States. You'll see Jamaica, you'll see every island you can think of. You'll see Canada. You'll see South America. You'll see Mexico. You'll see all of this. That's the mental disconnect. We got to get rid of that disconnect and get back connected. It's mental assassination. In school, they taught us about that. On the left, the Constitution, and on the right, the Declaration of Independence. Any of y'all read the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution?
Yep.
Just ground food. I did some classes on it. I did a series of law classes last summer, back in Philly. So I did a class on the Declaration of Independence. I did a class on the Constitution, the Articles of the Federation. They're sitting right over there. But that Declaration of Independence, when you get a chance, read it. See what them Albions were saying about King George and the brutish Moors. But what I'm saying is read it and then flip the script. We could actually take that same damn document that they wrote and give it back. Give it to them, because everything that they claim about King George, your ancestors doing to them, is what they're doing to us. They flipped the script. They flipped the script without help. Without help. They flipped the script. All you gotta do is read, see, people see that Declaration of Independence and they know what it was. Supposedly had got them some freedom on July 4th, 1776. So we celebrate Independence Day down there. Is July 4th a holiday up there?
July 1st.
July 1st.
What is it?
Canada.
Canada Day. Right. So another homework task. Look at how many other nations got Independence Day on July 4th. Ain't got nothing to do with no damn Declaration of Independence. It's astrological. The star Sirius is conjunct the sun. It's you know what I'm saying? The helical rising of Sirius.
It's Egypt's New Year too.
Egypt's New Year, because when Sirius, at the helical rising of Sirius, what happens in Kemet is the Nile used to flood. Then you get the inundation of the land. The soil becomes fertile, they plant. Then you know they said they was dropping seeds on the ground and crops just sprouting right up. What didn't they tell us about these documents? Why didn't they tell you that the actual founding fathers of the United States of North American Republic were Moors? They got you thinking that Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and a couple other dudes wearing wigs were the founding fathers. They got you thinking that they're responsible for those documents. And those documents hold true where I'm standing right now. Right here in what they call Canada. Because Canada agreed to be a part of what was going on in the United States. Articles of Confederation. They agreed to it, but they didn't tell you that in school. If they listen, if we sit in school and we sit here and the teacher says, there were a bunch of black guys that wrote the Constitution and gave it to my ancestors so that my ancestors would have some act right. All of us would start looking at each other. So you're saying that my ancestors was in charge. All you gotta do is read the documents, and you will see clearly that that's what they say. They've been assassinating you for a very long time. The worst part about it is they told you to assassinate you. You can't see that picture too good. That's a picture of the rotunda in Washington, D.C. This is called the rotunda, and it is located in the National Archives of Washington, D.C. This is where they keep faded copies of what they call the Doctrines of Freedom. The Constitution adopted by the United States of North America Republic. The Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, etc., etc. Those are what they call the Doctrines of Freedom. Now, I got a question for y'all conscious morals. What was their real doctrine of freedom? No.
That's the question again?
What was the actual doctrine of freedom for the Albion?
The Treaty of Peace
The
and
Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I've been down there. It ain't good. That's their actual doctrine of freedom. That's when we said, listen, we're going to let you come over here and do your business. But you're going to stay on that little track land right there. And don't bring no around past it. Treaty of Peace and Friendship. So what they do? Who Joe killed him? Just told his name. National killed him. Let's take his land. They watched us destroy. They watched us self-destruct. Even when it came to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, you know that it was different regencies who didn't want the Sultan to allow it to happen in the first place. Don't trust them. They can't be trusted. Now we're starting to assassinate ourselves. Now it's the infighting. Now it's the destruction. So then we get what you were talking about earlier. We get us enslaving us. We got some free. We got some slaves.
It was actually.
I mean, but
Yeah, there's actually sort of interrupt. There's letters that were supposed to be sent out to colonies at the time of the Articles of Confederation. They're supposed to go to Atlanta, North Carolina, Quebec, Nova Scotia, PEI, which are 3 colonies here in Canada, and a few other states. But the only letter that got to its destination was the one that was supposed to go to Quebec, which was New France at the time. So
Right.
there was some exactly, right? So
you just named about 7 places.
that's right.
And you're telling me only one letter reached its destination.
Exactly.
What was the letter for?
There's
For
some-
those colonies to join the Union from the start.
I can tell you probably where they are. Some wealthy Albion has them tucked away in the city.
Yeah.
They don't destroy stuff, y'all. They keep paper trails. How you think we keep finding all this stuff out? They keep and make paper trails. And remember that it was the president down there, Teddy Roosevelt, who said nothing in politics happens by accident. That's their doctrine of freedom right there. Now, if you want to find it, if any of y'all ever travel to Washington, D.C., don't go to the National Archives in Washington, D.C. The National Archives has a library outside in Maryland, about 45 minutes away from D.C. It's It's just a trek to get to it. So people go to DC and they want to see certain stuff. So they ain't traveling 45 minutes to go nowhere to see nothing. And they know that. They ain't stupid. It ain't by accident that they do that stuff.
I heard that, they re-signed the treaty at the end of 50 years.
It's a perpetual treaty. It needs to be signed every 50 years. Every 50 years. And every 50 years is for what? For them to continue to be able to do business on this land. Right? So we'll get into that a little later. We'll probably know what you're going to need. January 1st, 1865. That was the day that they told everybody, y'all free to go. Slavery's over. Go ahead. Get gone. So on December 31st, most who were held in bondage waited for the clock to strike 12. So at midnight, they will be set free and life will be forever different. On December 31st up here, do the people who go to church, do they go to church on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Do y'all know what that's for? They call it watch night service. And all these people who go to church don't know that that's what it is. They were going, they were waiting for their freedom. That's why they were singing and dancing. And they just kept it going. And now people go to church, they sit there singing and dancing and they don't even know why. That's why. Now the significance of January 1st is this. They call it New Year's. Of course, we know the Moorish New Year is when?
January 20th.
Did you hear what he said?
No. Moorish New Year?
Yeah.
January 20th.
What's January 1st?
New Year.
On the Gregorian calendar, that's New Year. January 1st, what happens is this. They say that Sirius rises into the mid-heavens and you can practically see it from anywhere on earth. Anybody who's taking notes, write down Sirius conjunct. And then when you type that into your browser on Google, wait till you see how many things the Europeans put into play when Sirius is conjunct anything. When Sirius is conjunct Mars. When Sirius is conjunct this or that. On January 1st, Sirius is conjunct the mid-heavens. And on that night, when they put their plans into action, they get prosperity, they get wealth, they get riches. And we out shooting guns and partying and acting like damn fools. Nothing's done by accident. Well, we were taught about Albion in school. I put school in quotes. About ourselves from 1492 to 1865 was all a part of our mental assassination. We were made to believe that our existence in this beautiful land of northwest, central, and southwest of Mexico, with the conjoining Atlantis Islands, was attributed to the Albion rescuing us from the jungles of Mexico and bringing us to the New World. Why? The answer is simple. Virtual denationalization, birthright, and land. I can't tell you who you are and expect you not to rise up against it. I can't allow you to learn who you are and expect you not to rise up against it. If I'm getting great finance and great wealth, and my children and my children's children and their children's children are going to live good off of your back, why in the hell would I tell you when you
More often, if you give me the consent to do that, why not?
It doesn't benefit me. It's not going to benefit my grandchildren. Y'all know how many Albion children we put through college? Just us in this room. How many of your children got through college? How many of y'all got degrees? How many of y'all got trust funds? Hedge funds? Over the course of a few generations, our ancestors were beat, lynched, raped, etc. Our language and culture were stripped and a new one enforced. We saw that in the beginning when my man said, we're going to take them back here and teach them our language and bring them back so they can feed it to the rest of them. We're going to teach them our religion and we ain't even got nothing in the head. I think that was just accepted. And look at us, dancing and skiing and Our religion was changed to that of our oppressor, and our everything was lost. So my man showed up. Sharif Abdul Ali. On January 8, 1886, the great God Allah sent to the Asiatic peoples of North America a miracle in the form of Timothy Drew, born in present-day North Carolina, amongst the very people he was to save. How was he to save?
Teaching them who they were.
Teaching them who they were, by teaching them to be themselves. Because we forgot. It's a passage in one of Tony Browder's books. It says something to the effect of, we learned all there was to know. Then we forgot what we learned. We are now taught by people we once taught, and we will soon forget again. How is it that our ancestors got structures that they built 5,000 to 10,000 years ago still standing? And not only can't Albion figure out how they did it, we can't either. How many scientists we got? Not saying that we don't got the capability to do it, because we definitely do. Them babies right now are much more intelligent than some children that's 12 years old. They ain't had their minds corrupted yet. They ain't been fed the constant BS. We can teach them languages. We can teach them all types of stuff right now. So by the time, I'll be 39 in a couple weeks, by the time they get 39, you 35 today? That's not about back that high, bro. Happy sober return, bro.
Hold it.
Let's keep moving. Those are his parents. Eliza Turner Quitman says that she was pure-blooded Washita Tuma. And John A. Drew Quitman, full-blooded Cherokee. Now, what it's saying that they full-blooded Washita and full-blooded Cherokee, it's saying that they full-blooded what? Moors. Because they don't tell you that they're Moors. They won't even tell you that they're Americans. Now today, they got you believing that the indigenous American is only somebody who got a tribal connection. But be clear that everybody who has a tribal connection, and that's not what the prophet taught. The prophet didn't teach tribal connection. Everybody who has a tribal connection is associated with an organization called the Bureau of Indian Affairs. That's down there, that's up here. Let me say it again. That's down there, and that's up here.
Since you have the pictures up, we had some other schools of thought come to the temple to try to denounce Noble Drew Ali because John Whitman looks like a European, saying that he, because he has European blood in him, he's not a real prophet. You talk on that?
That ain't European. If it's just one distinction on his face, that nose ain't European. So whoever came up here to chip the nose off, like all the rest of the Albions did, I mean, the nose ain't European. All right, he got some straight stringy hair. He got some straight stringy hair. He got a full nose. He got full cheekbones. Albions don't got full cheeks like that. Their faces are narrow. Their phenotype is not the phenotype that we have. They can come and denounce what they want. You said they came to denounce his daddy, right?
They denounce him because they're saying that his...
They denounce him because his daddy, right?
Yeah, because his dad.
So, were these people so-called scholars?
No, probably not.
Because they probably don't know that she gave birth to him, and he didn't. So it don't matter what he is. He could have been a monkey. His mother gave birth to him. So he is what she is. It's simple. Like it or not. That's nature. It's not my words, that's nature. Only a feminine principle can give birth to anything. That's how we know that the universe is feminine. Because stars and nebulas and quasars and stuff just... That's why they call it Mother Nature. That's why they call it Mother Earth, because it's a feminine principle. It don't matter. So it don't matter what they said about his daddy. That's where he came from. It's simple. They got you thinking that we in a patrilineal society, and that started because the 16th president of the United States was Abraham Lincoln, and his mother just happened to have a whole bunch of our blood running through her veins. They teased him. They called him all kinds of stuff. They even made it permanent for as long as the U.S. currency will be around. I don't think it's going to be around much longer. But they got my man on a penny, on a copper penny, facing the opposite direction from everybody else. Because they're not going to sit there and tell you why he's different. But I will. Because he got Moorish blood running through his veins. Look, all you gotta do is go to Google, type in Abraham Lincoln Black, and see how many cartoons and how many things they drew of my man back in the day.
I know that John Hanson, he was another Moorish president. I heard that there was like a whole line of other Moorish presidents because they didn't really know how to, when they got their independence, they didn't know how to run the government, so they always selected the workers, so they could learn off of them.
They learned everything from me.
So they say that Obama was the first black president, but there's like a whole line of like 6 or 7 Moorish presidents before they actually gave it over to the Europeans to
John Hanson, Elias Boudinot, that's a whole gang of them, right? So when they said that Barack Obama was the first black president, I don't know if it made noise up here. He was on Tom Joyner's radio show. Y'all heard of Tom Joyner? He was on Tom Joyner's radio show. Tom Joyner said, I got Barack Obama on the phone. I got the very first black president. You know what he said? Don't call me black, Tom. And everybody lost their damn minds. Everybody lost their minds. Now, 2 things that I know that he knows. He knows that his mom is albino. And he knows that the man is too educated not to know. They hand selected him and they said, you know what? You did this here. We want to send you here. And then we want to do here. Then we need you to do this. And what about you? They say, no, we got you on here. And then you're going to be president. Barack Obama came from a poor family in Hawaii. Tell me how he went from a college called Incidental or Occidental University in California, that people in California never even heard of, to Columbia University, the most prestigious university in New York City, to Harvard Law, with no doubt. He's smart as all hell. Somebody paid him that. It's one of those. So you can't tell me if he's that smart that he don't know that he came from his mother and that his mother ain't what we call black. Or we could say that he knows that black is a legal status that makes you simple a little more too, than in the eyes of the view of the eyes of the law. And now it's got to be one or the other. He knows something. So when he said it, they flipped out. When he said it, I laughed. I knew where he was going. One way or the other, he was in. They can say whatever they want about Drew's daddy. Who was Drew Ali? A boy born to Moorish parents in what's called North Carolina, who would eventually leave the care of his aunt after the death of his parents and travel at a very young age, between 14 and 16, from what's called New Jersey to Egypt. Timothy Drew would enter the mystery schools in Egypt and study amongst Egyptian adepts for a period of close to 10 years. Any of y'all know anything about the mystery schools? How long people used to be in them schools?
40 years. 40 years, 50 years.
You can get them from like age 7. Right? How smart was he to go through them schools in 10 years? Or was he just ordained? Was it just the Creator's divine work that put him where he needed to be for a period of 10 years. For him to go on to be given the title of angel by the Arabs, and his ancient Kemetic Arab degree is awarded to the students qualified to carry the message of truth to all nations and lands. In that period of time, he was given the title of angel and already qualified to carry the message of truth to all nations and lands. It's almost like Barack Obama. Either somebody got paid off in Egypt to give my master's degrees, or it's just by divine order. People don't want to believe that you got a prophet that looked like you, that came for your salvation. A man that we got pictures of, a man that other people spoke of because they sat with him and they knew him, because they touched him and they felt him. Ain't nobody want to believe in that. But you want to tell me that you believe that my man from way across the world was born in the middle of the desert, got an Albion name, because Jesus has got to be forgive me, the whitest name I've heard, Jesus Christ. That ain't no name with no Asiatic. And then you think about everybody else, Mark and Luke and John and everybody else. And people go for that. But they don't want to believe that a prophet was sent to them for their salvation in the form of Prophet Noble Ali. Upon his return to the United States, Noble Ali began his works and eventually opened up the old Canaanite temple in what's called Newark, New Jersey. Infiltration and infighting will cause Ali to leave New Jersey and relocate to what will become known as the Mecca in America, but it's called Chicago, Illinois. Here he would establish the Moorish Holy Science Temple in 1925, and later the legally chartered Moorish Science Temple of America in 1928. Right there you got a picture of the founder of the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world. We wasn't taught about him in school. She was talking about that a little earlier. They told us about George Washington and everybody else. They told us about Martin Luther King, but didn't tell us about Malcolm X. Or you know what? Down there, did y'all learn about Malcolm X up here? No? We didn't learn about Malcolm X either. Only reason I knew about Malcolm X was because of Spike Lee. When he was wearing X t-shirts and things like that. We found out about Malcolm X, and then when the movie came out, then we really learned some more things about Malcolm X. But they give you who they want to give you. They can't give you the prophet, because if they give you the prophet, then you're going to start to ask questions. You're going to start to wonder. You're going to have some older people start talking about what they remember, what they knew, who they seen, and where they've been. And that's a problem, especially if we learn this at a young age. Drew Ali was sent by the Creator to redeem his people and teach them to be themselves. He told us not to accept slave names. I put brands in parentheses, that's what they are, as our own. He told us if you do nothing else, declare and proclaim your nationality. We got all of these so-called scholars. We got all of these, like Cujo said, schools of thought. All of these smart-ass people, dumb-ass people. Because anybody can open up Lifestyle Dictionary and understand what's being said. When you say that I'm black, you saying that I'm nothing. But like I said yesterday, the problem is emotion. We stuck on emotion. Because most people want to cut my throat for me saying what I'm saying. The same dog did us all. I walked down the same alley, the dog bit me the same way he bit everybody else. I said black. But once I lawfully understood what black meant and where it put me, I ain't saying it again. Not pertaining to me, not pertaining to you. I'm not even going to take your nationality because that's what they do. I'm not going to take it from you and call you black. What's up, black man? I used to say that. We got all of these scholars. Dr. Ben been over to Kim 1,001 times. And like I said yesterday, I don't piss on nobody. All we need to do is build on top of our elders. We don't break down what they did. When you telling me, listen, Dr. Ben went to a Moor University in Spain. And he don't know about no Moor. And he ain't teaching nobody about Moors. And he started talking about black this and black that. And they teach us that Kemet means the black man, when black didn't even come into existence until the 1500s. The word black. And this is what our scholars are teaching us. And we believe it. We soak it up. And we live it. The prophet said, in order to change a man, he must change his literature. I done a lot of reading. I started reading when I was a child because I was always on punishment. Always stuck in my room, so I was reading. I didn't have no TV, no nothing like that, no toys. They told me. So I was reading. So I was engulfed in all of the black stuff. You know, the black history, the black this, the black that. And then I came into sports science. My literature changed. I still read them other books. You eat the fish and spit out the bones. You take what you can get and you throw the rest out. My literature changed. When my literature changed, when I started sitting, when I could actually sit like this and talk to Josh Street Day and that beautiful day and Robin Wright Day, I was forever changed. It's not possible for, I mean, y'all sitting up here with me. It's not possible for you to your way of thinking has to change. When you start reading 101, when you start reading a certain Quran, when you just start reading about your ancestry, your history, your way of thinking has to change. Your way of thinking has to change. Slums. The emotion, the same emotion that you felt when you say black, you should feel when you say Moors. The same emotion that you felt when you said, I'm black and I'm proud, you should be able to say, I'm Moorish and I'm proud. Everybody else who don't want to get on board, and listen, man, the prophet already told you that strict instructions. If you cannot convince them that they're not Negro, colored, and black, deuces. I see you on the other side. Listen, I got family who don't want to hear what I'm saying. They come to my classes, and I watch them. I sit around, I watch everybody. I scan the class constantly. I watch it. I say, that's right. That sound before I'm saying mama, and you know, and then they look up like, oh yeah, that's cool. They don't want to hear it. So do I go there and say, listen, bro, do you know who I am? I do classes in Canaanland. I travel all the way up there and they like me. No. I'm still the same old dude that they grew up with. And I ain't gonna beat them in the head because if you don't got enough sense to just at least look and prove it wrong, then you're a fool. And I ain't got time to sit there and beat you in the head with it. The prophet gave you strict instructions. If you can't convince them that they got Negro, colored, and black, leave them alone. Regardless of how much it hurts, it's your mother, it's your father, it's your brother, your sister, and everybody else. Because everybody ain't gonna be saved. When they go to church, do they knock you in the head and try to drag you with them? Nah, they just tell you, yeah, well, some of them do. I probably shouldn't say this on video because it might come back to bite me one day. But you know what? I ain't gonna say it. But somebody in my family told me and my cousin that if we didn't start going to church, then we had to move. Now, my family gonna know who it is. But y'all ain't gonna know who it is. The people in the video ain't gonna know. My family will know. But that's real talk. If y'all don't start coming to church, y'all got to go. I'm tired of seeing everybody else's family in church but mine. When I was 20, I was living with a woman and her child, and she wanted to go to church. So I took her to my grandmother's church. She read this book called The Divine Revelation of Hell. And that book is only designed to scare you into going to church. So we went to church. I was 20, I'll be 38 in a couple weeks. So when we filling out the paperwork to join the church, yeah, how about that? You got to sign a contract to go to church. The deacon looked at the paperwork and he said, so I'm the deacon, his name is Deacon McElwain. Is that your sister? So I said, no. She got to be your cousin. I said, what you getting at, bro? Stop beating around. What you getting at? Can't be a woman. What you getting at, bro? Because now I'm getting irritated. Oh, we don't go for that round head. You don't go for what? You got to move up. You can't live with her. I said, bro, I'm not moving nowhere. Oh, well, we don't go for that. If you was a man. Now, I said I was 20. So I didn't act the way I act now when I was 20. So I raised up on it. I'm just being honest. I raised up on it. Only the sight of my aunt from the peripheral, my aunt rose with me, and I saw her doing like this. From the peripheral, I saw her. She said, took the pigment and tore it up. I was 20. I ain't been back to church. Unless somebody died or got married, I haven't been back in church since. And that was long before I knew about the prophet and his teachings. I wasn't going back. But it's amazing how they can love that prophet, Jesus Christ, and submit all of their will and all of their life and all of their finances to the uplifting of that. But you got somebody who's giving you somebody who lived 100 years ago, who looks like you, who came for your redemption, for your salvation, to teach you and your children who you are. Because you forgot. In the short span of a few hundred years, you forgot. And they ain't trying to hear it. That's something. Not unbelievable, but it's something. He changed your literature. That's just a couple of things you can read. That's just a couple of things you can read. Moor's literature. The Circle 7 Holy Quran. The Hard Constitution and Bible. So, somebody got a Circle 7 in there?
Yeah.
Somebody got a Circle 7? That mine's in my bag. A lot of people attack this book. They say that Prophet Noble Ali wrote the Circle 7. Did he write it?
No.
What happened?
You already prepared it.
Divinely prepared. He just put together some collective works. All you gotta do is read chapter 1, creation and the fall of man. Time never was when man was not. If life of a man at any time began, a time will come when it would end. Now, you can match that with what they call Ecclesiastes chapter 3 in the biblical time. And you know why? Because whoever they told you wrote the Bible didn't, right? The Bible was divinely prepared by somebody else from your sacred text over there on the walls. But this is frowned upon. They say that he wrote this and he, no, pay attention. It was divinely prepared by him. All you gotta do is read that first line. Time never was when man was not. And you'll see his divine nature. What do they say? Jesus had a human and divine nature? Well, Prophet Noble Ali could. Simple, he was a nigga. Ain't no nigga that smart. Ain't no nigga that wise. And when you go look at the newspaper clippings, why they address him as the prophet? Go look at some of them old newspaper clippings. They say in the newspaper clippings the prophet. Probably wasn't too many of us writing in Chicago back then. They address him as the prophet, and we want. Drew's message was simple. You're not Negro, you're not colored, you're not black, you're not Ethiopian. It's just funny, when you look at all of that up there, you can pick one. And that's what you can be. And if I say that I'm black, and you say that you're colored, and you say that you're Negro, technically that should mean that we three different things. That's what it should mean, that we three different things. But no, we're the same thing. And we got all these different types, and all these marks, and all these brands, and all these labels. And then you got the prophet come through and take it back from you and say, listen, don't use these slave names. These are names they gave to you during slavery. These are titles, listen, you got a free national name. You know who you are. Do you realize that you're descended from kings and queens? Do you realize that your ancestry in this land is 10, 20,000 years? Do you realize before the Albion even got off all fours that you already had bustling civilizations? Any of y'all ever traveled down to Mexico? Or South America anyway? You been there? All right. You been to Panama? What it look like there? You see people like us? Panama, and Bogota, and Peru. They look like us. I went down to Chichen Itza, down outside of Cancun back in 2005, and they had a damn cool where I was at. They just said it was pyramids over there, so all right, cool, let's go. So we over there, you know, we all inside the pyramid, walking up and down the steps, checking everything out, looking at all the breakfasts and all, you know, checking it. But back then I was unaware. It wasn't until 2006 that somebody hit the light switch, and I was like, they had me believing that it was really some little midget Mayan people, because that's what they told us. Even though I see the size of the nose, even though I see the lips on the sculptures, that something was still there. In fact, I'm going down there in March, me and my wife, I'm going down there to take some tours to see if I can give it to people who set up tours so we can start going down there. So we can stop seeing, so when people start saying, oh man, you know, that stuff is this, that stuff, no, let's go. Let's go see. Let's try to work it out, find so it's financially feasible for everybody. Let's go see. We don't need to go all the way across to Kim to see our ancestors. It's right here. It's right here. Go up and down that Mississippi River. When you was in Shreveport ain't on the Mississippi, is it? So when I went down to Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is right on the Mississippi. And I went to a place called Poverty Point Park in Louisiana, where it's a mound civilization there.
Yeah.
And the curator was a Moor. So he said, you one of them people? Well, what people? You know, they come down here every year, they wear them hats. What you talking about, man? I know who you talking about. You talking about the Empress Washington. You know they can walk out the point of view. So I know, but I'm playing dumb. I want to see where you going. You know they wear them hats. I said, the Moors. And he said, yeah, man, they come down here, they be singing and they be up there praying and they do all this crazy stuff and blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking at him, I'm like, crazy stuff. I said, you know, they coming down here because this is where their ancestors was at. I said, they coming to sacred land. Nah, man, they black. Real talk, just a conversation. And I'm having a good time. You know, I'm sitting there playing real dumb, but I'm just having a good time. No, man, they black. Who's black? The people that come down here. I said, that's because the people who was here was black. Oh, no, man. Oh, man. Indians left all this stuff. I said, bro, you work here. I said, when you looking at this little figurine right here, and it don't look like no Indian. It look like you. You work here. And you never questioned that? And he said, listen, man, I don't want to get into all that. Okay. I'll tell you what, I left. And I wouldn't want to walk around the park. I bet you he went to look at one of them figurines. If not that day, someday. Plant the seed. And go on by your business. Prophet Abu Jali planted the seed. He planted it. And then some people plucked it up. It's something when you plant. It's something when you plant a seed to feed your people, to plant a seed for something to grow. For nourishment of the soul, for nourishment of the mind, and your own people pluck it up. Sorry, everybody else. 1928 Pan American Conference. Noble Drew Ali headed to Cuba to attend the 6th annual Pan American Conference. Pan American meaning what? Encompassing all of America. With him was Charles Kirkman Bey, who would serve as his interpreter. It is said that Kirkman Bey spoke 92 languages. At this conference, it is also known that Ali was given a 50-year land mandate, which would eventually cause financial ruin in the United States and bring about the Great Depression, amongst other things. Who said something earlier about the 50 years? That was you? About the 50-year land mandate? You know why it's a 50-year mandate?
I guess you said that we have to send
It needs to be signed off on every 50 years in order for the European Albionite to do business on this land. Every 50 years. When it was given to Prophet Noble Drew Ali in 1928, that presents a problem. Because he's going to do what with it? He's not come back and nationalize the land. 1928. And you telling me, in a matter of a couple years, the country falls apart? Financially. You remember they show pictures and videos, them cats were jumping out of windows, killing each other, killing their dogs, their children. That brought about that Great Depression. That brought about Franklin Roosevelt and the New Deal. Was it Franklin Roosevelt or Teddy Roosevelt? Franklin. And that whole New Deal. That brought about that House Joint Resolution that we always talk about. That brought about the birth certificates. That brought about the Social Security cards. If any of y'all got any elders in your family born before 33, see if they got birth certificates. They probably got an old Bible with their little handprint and footprint in it and pass his name at the bottom, say grandma was born on this date at this time. That was your birthright. When he got that mandate, that presented a problem for them. So now you got to start to wonder, what's going to happen? Even better, what did happen? Some people know. That brother up there, that went with him. Charles Kirkman Bay. I know after the prophet died, at the second annual convention, he was named the National Grand Chief. And then he went off and started doing his own thing. Maybe y'all knew that, maybe y'all didn't. But there was another brother. Oh, this will tie in. That's the first annual convention. Y'all seen that picture before. In fact, it's hanging up right here. That's the first annual convention at Unity Hall in Chicago, Illinois. And that's just a flyer announcement, October 15th through the 20th, 1928. At the convention, he named National Grand Chiefs and appointed other people to other positions of power in the temple. One of the boys that he appointed to a position in the temple name was Claude Green Bay. And Claude Green Bay was, I think, the financier or something to the effect. And he accused Prophet Noble Drew Ali of stealing funds. Because back then, as Nature told you yesterday, they had enterprise. So they had finances rolling in. Dry cleaners, cafe, and whatever else. So they had the finances rolling in. So Claude Green Bay then accuses Prophet Noble Drew Ali of stealing finances. And Claude Green Bay says, look, Prophet got to go. Who with me? Who's with me? What's up, Naj? You ready? We get Cujo wide.
So familiar.
That was in 1929, right? Y'all believe in 2014. Now, I domicile in Philadelphia. Y'all believe in 2014 that Moors from Canaanland called me on the phone and tried to convince me, I don't know why they're trying to convince me, but they're trying to convince me that Cujo is an agent and that Cujo works for the police. It's 2014. That was 28, 29. We ain't stopped assassinating our damn selves yet. Why, listen, why y'all calling me all the way down there to deal with him up here? Go see him. Got me sitting on the phone all times of the night, listening to some bull. Just because I'm trying to see, you know what I'm saying? And then I finally get to the point after listening to a brother for more than over an hour. I said to the brother this, I said, listen, bro, what's your problem with Cujo? I don't have no problem with Cujo. I said, okay, I said, well, listen. I said, there's one of two things. Either you got a problem with Cujo, or you got a crush on Cujo. Tell you how you want it.
I just wanted to Cujo right here.
Yo, he know what I'm talking about, because I called him and told him I called him right out there, bro. Look, man. See, it's one or the other. So, then the brother, after a few minutes, he said, you're right. I do got a problem with Cujo.
Oh shit. I thought you were gonna say you had a crush on me.
Yo, if he did, I wouldn't have told the story. I wouldn't have told the story. So he said, I do got a problem with Cujo. Good. Now, how do we rectify it? Why don't you call Cujo and say, look, I like the way you look at me, bro. You look at me like you got a problem. You talk to me like I'm 6. I don't like the fact that you be calling people niggas. Why you curse? Shit, I curse. It's words to me. It's just simply words to me. I'm not gonna sit here and do a potty mouth lecture, but they just words to me. They roll off my tongue just like I say hello. Doesn't make me any less of a man. Doesn't mean that my soul is filled with fire. No. The brother didn't want to talk to Cujo. So, until this day, which is practically a year later, he still has that problem with Cujo. Yesterday we talked about emotion. I can bet you that he's still mad at Cujo. And Cujo don't even give a damn. Cujo probably forgot about it until I keep bringing it up. Like, damn, why you keep bringing it up? I forgot that before. So, the point that I'm making is this. The point that I'm making is this. That when you talk about the attempted assassination of a nation, when you're talking about the character assassination of the prophet by Green Bay, by saying that he attempted to steal finances for his personal gain, and for, him saying that the prophet was going to rob him. This is what he said. Now, allegedly, he said the prophet was running around the land. So he was using the finances from the temple for that. Now, allegedly, I wasn't there. Claude Green Bay was having an affair with Pearl Drew Bay, being one of the prophet known to You got nerve to accuse me of something? You got a nerve to accuse me of something? I'm talking 1929. Now it's 214, and we still dealing with it. Right here in your own house. You still dealing with assassination attempts. They don't have to put a bullet through his heart. All they gotta do is just keep sparing his name through mud. You know what I'm saying? And eventually people will say, I ain't messing with you, John.
And it's all ego. Find the sheep.
Ego,
Jealousy.
ego, jealousy,
Yeah.
however you want to call it. See, many people wanted to sit in that seat that the prophet sat. That same picture right there, Unity Hall, is where the prophet's office was at. So I put up there Noble Ali, but see the second. The second one being the convention. He went to the first one. He wouldn't see the second convention. Jealousy and infiltration was seen that. Drew Ali was accused by Claude Green Bay of mishandling temple finances, and Green Bay attempted a coup to remove Ali from his seat. Claude Green Bay went to Unity Hall, started grabbing the prophet stuff, throwing it out on the street. Now, constitutionally speaking, I got the right to due process. So if I got the right to due process from the government and the Constitution, I should have it from you. You being my brother, you accusing me of something, then prove it. Prove that I'm mishandling finances. Prove that I was running around with some money. Prove that I took a couple trips on the temple. And if you can prove it, then I should be ushered out the door. Well, he did. He just accused him, and then he went in there and started throwing his stuff out on the street.
So the people follow what he was saying.
A whole lot of people follow what he was saying. A whole lot of people, see, you gotta realize like this. Those same ones that I told y'all called me about Cujo, called me again and again about Cujo. you know, and he knew that I called him and told him. They wanted, now, this is your house, so I'm gonna be frank with you. The people who called me, I ain't gonna put them out there, they know who they are, said that we want Cujo out the temple, we want Mari to be the grand chief. 2014, 1929. What changed? Same old bull. What changed? If you got a problem with me, come to me. That's for any of y'all. That's for anybody who might see this video. That's for anybody who knows me. Come to me and say, can I talk to you? I'm a man. You be a man. I got a problem. I'm like, hey, come on, man. We in the car riding around here fucking all day. Windows rolled up. It's cold. I'm serious, man.
You know what's so funny about this? I was just thinking about that today. Funny, no lie. I was thinking about what Cujo said years back. And I had this issue with somebody, with my position, outside of the temple, with somebody saying that Najwa shouldn't be so-and-so, whatnot. I thought of you. And I remember what you told me years back. You said, listen, I didn't put myself in this position. They told me they wanted me in this position. So, what's the whole big deal? Right? I didn't put myself here. You appointed me. Same thing with this too.
People want to be the mufti. They wouldn't be able to stand on the door and watch who comes in and out of the door.
Of course. Of course.
They might not just like you. They might not like the fact that you got on the bandana instead of a vest.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
They might feel like you disrespecting something or someone.
Exactly.
Right? So they say, you know what, we get Najwa out of here. Now who's gonna guard the door? Najwa's a skilled fighter. So you gonna take Najwa, a skilled fighter, off the door and put some chump up there? So as soon as he come on, man. Come on, man.
And you gonna be watching Cujo.
I'm not a mufti, but I'm a skilled fighter. I boxed for years, right? When I finished speaking yesterday, I could have sat up front with Cujo. I went straight to the back and stood on the door with Omar and the other brothers that were standing on the door. Every time the door opened, I'm turning around to see who it is. Because as soon as you come in, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make eye contact. Because your eyes ain't gonna lie. If you up to something, you gonna know. The eyes ain't gonna lie. So you want to take somebody off the door who is supposed to be on the door, because you won't lie. You want to take somebody from being a grand chief because you won't lie. That's jealousy. That's nonsense. That's self-assassination, self-destruction. When that song come out? 88? 89? We've been self-destructing for a long time. You talk about the attempted assassination of a nation, and it started way back in 1492 with the Albion, and then they taught us how to do it to each other. They taught us how to do it to each other. That's unity hall. Allegedly, Noble Ali called in Ira Johnson ill to remove the bad tooth called Claude Green Bay. I say allegedly because I don't know if he did it or not. That's just what they said. That's what some Moor who was there said. While Ali was out of town handling business with Lomax Bay, because Lomax Bay was out of control, he was a part of the coup with Claude Green Bay. Ira Johnson and a few others killed Claude Green Bay at Unity Hall. It was said by the way that his body was lying on the floor that he was pleading for his life as he was shot and stabbed. Y'all know that that's why the prophet got locked up. Because he was accused. Huh? I can't. Conspiracy. Yeah. Because some other boy, I forget his name, some other boy said, I was there when they had the meeting, and then the prophet went out of town, and then what went down. They killed my man right in Unity Hall. Now, we can speculate, and we can say that he made the call and called my man in from Pittsburgh. That's where Ira Johnson's came from Pittsburgh. Him and his gang of goons. I think it was him and 3 other people shot him and stabbed him up. We can speculate and say he made the call. Or could have been getting set up. Y'all know about COINTELPRO. Y'all know COINTELPRO, when you read the COINTELPRO papers, the FBI papers on the Moor Science Temple of America, why they only start after the prophet died? What's the purpose of infiltrating an organization after the person who started it is gone? Why not infiltrate it and see what he's up to? Why not infiltrate him? You want to wait till he dies and then go kick down the door? But if you look at the FBI papers, they start after the prophet's been deceased. Pull them up. It's extensive. It's a lot of black marks because they scratched out some names. They don't want you to know who was a part of what. But why did the FBI papers start after he died? Probably because COINTELPRO, I want you to know that they had air footage of doing too. The FBI. What's his name? Good old J. Edgar Hoover, panties and bras and stuff like that. Jealousy and hate and greed and selfishness. There's a guy by the name of Darth Perry. It's a video about him. If you type in how the FBI sabotaged Black America, you can watch this video of a guy named Darth Perry. And Darth Perry will sit there and talk about how for a period of about 20-some years, he worked for the FBI through the 60s and 70s. Right? They was paying him 800 notes a week. Some people don't get 800 notes a week now. And he was getting it back then. And he was telling about how he infiltrated all of these organizations, how I was so well liked and how I was well received. That was in the 50s and 60s. And they was paying him 800 a week. How do you think they paid some of them people to go into the temple? Who they probably trained, who they probably educated, to sit at the feet of the prophet, to turn around and say, and I ain't saying Claude Green was working for the FBI, but just to turn around and say, oh, he's still in finance. We need to keep our eyes on him. He ain't as clean as y'all might think he is. He running around with all these women. Listen, I'm trying to get rid of the problem. My brother Lomax Day, that the prophet was out of town handling business with. That's why he was out of town handling business. There were some people that had their positions revoked. We just read in the divine bylaws. If you out of line, it's we taking your position. It's something. It's something. You out of line, we taking your position. If we know that Nas while running around robbing midgets every Friday night, he don't need to be the mufti. We taking your position. We robbing midgets on Fridays, bro. You see, we taking your position. So when you get your position, so now you're mad. And you pissed off. So you start calling up other boys and say, you know what? We can get this guy out of here. I don't know if the people who called me, you kicked out, I don't know what happened. Either way, they called me all the way down there to try to get him removed all the way up here. How do you expect me to do it? Cujo's this, Cujo's that, Cujo's this. I met Cujo August of 2013.
Yeah.
And as soon as we embraced, I felt his energy. I ain't no magician, but I can feel it. I can look in his eyes. I can look in each one of your eyes and find out who's full of sugar and who ain't. And when I say full of sugar, I don't mean homosexual. I just mean children. So I'm watching my mom. I'm trying to.
Sugar, honey, ice tea.
Sugar, honey, ice tea. Children in here. Y'all put in there. Got me having to watch my mouth. But I love y'all. What was I saying? When I embraced his brother, his energy was that I know was gonna be all right, cool. Right? Now, if I had felt anything different, I would have gone over to the temple with him, and I'd have been like, you know what, bro, my family waiting for me. I got to go. And I left. No, I stayed over there waiting for a couple hours. We chopped it up, we built. And then the next thing I know, Nas called me. I talked to Nas while on the phone for months before I even saw his face. Before I saw his face. And then I came up north to Ali Bay. I met Omar and Mari and everybody else. It was all love. That's why I keep coming back. But for the people who tried to convince me that he was something other than who I know him to be, it wasn't going to happen. I'm not that weak-willed individual. Even if they had thrown a couple trinkets my way and said, listen, we get you a Benz or a Bentley, I'd be like, hey man, my Avalon ride just runs. I don't need the Benz, it costs more than gas anyway. The same thing that the prophet went through, we got our grand sheiks going through right now. It ain't only him that's being attacked and his character being assassinated. When you assassinate the character of a grand sheik, you assassinate the character of the entire temple that he represents. So when he's attacked, we all attacked. When they go to assassinate his character, they assassinated you and the babies as well.
You're 15? Is good? 15 minutes good?
15 minutes?
Yeah, need more than that.
I can wrap it up in 15 minutes. Prophet Moor said they had a secret meeting with our Johnson Hill to set up the killing in Club Green Bay by a member of the MSTA. When he gave out this information, Ali was arrested but not charged with murder. At the bottom it said the prophet's life was a blur after this. Can't see that picture too good, but that's a picture of the prophet in the casket and the brothers carrying him out. That's from the newspaper. You can read that article. It's pretty extensive. Just go to the internet and type in Ira Johnson Bay killed Club Green Bay. Now it'll come up. It's called Secret Drift. How did Drew Ali die? Some say he died from the beatings from the police while in jail. Some say he died of tuberculosis. In fact, that's what the death certificate says. Some say he died from being poisoned. Some say he died from pneumonia. The only thing we know for sure is that he died. How many people know that it was elders who said that the prophet wasn't sick? They said he wasn't sick. I don't know much about tuberculosis. It's a respiratory issue. So then he should have been coughing up phlegm and probably blood and all types of other stuff, right? Ain't no books about it. None that I know of. Any of you ever get real?
Cancer is an injection that you fight against it. You don't know what the injection is. You tell if you don't take it, you don't know.
Who knows? We don't. We can only speculate. There it is right there. One elderly woman whispered to a friend. The prophet was not ill. His work was done and he laid his head upon the lap of one of his followers and passed out. If I finish speaking and I go sit down and I lay my head on his lap and I pass out, you can say, yeah, his work was done and he just died. But what's the chances of that? What's the chances that I'm going to just pass out and die? You already know, without a doubt, that Claude Green Bay, along with Lomax Bay, Charles Kirkland Bay, and a few other people, conspired to get the prophet out of his seat. You already know it. Am I saying they killed him? I ain't saying nothing. You draw your own conclusion. What I am telling you is that it's a known fact that they conspired to get the man out of his seat. Wallace Farad Muhammad, Elijah Poole Bay, who became Elijah Muhammad, Father Devon, Big Daddy Grace. All of these people you got to look at. All of these Moors who had their own factions. Emil CM Bay. Look at all the people who came before this time and see what they left behind. Look at the people who followed them. Listen to the things that they say. Even Johnny Gibbons said he was a reincarnated prophet. Half of the prophets followed with Johnny Gibbons and the other half was Turpin Bay. And then you had some stragglers. And then out of nowhere, you get the Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam do some good work there. And they leave out something, hell yeah. They left out nationality. You see Elijah Muhammad with his fez on. You see other Muslims at other meetings and conventions with their fezes on. And you know that he was once Elijah. All you gotta do is type in Elijah Poole Bay, his picture comes right up. It ain't a secret no more. It probably once was, but it ain't no more. And when you talk about the attempted assassination of a nation, the physical death of the prophet was whatever. That was inevitable. He was going to die one day. But when they assassinated his character and then assassinated his flesh, the assassination kept on by your own. He already told you that to be careful because people wearing turbans and fezzes will put you back in slavery, and they damn well did. You go to some temples and you don't get no law, you don't get no civics, you don't get nothing. You get what they call the divine part of the movement. But if it was really divine, then they would be teaching you everything. He said it's a divine and national movement. He didn't just say it was divine. You go some places and that's all they try to feed you. They just got you reading from the 101s all day long. Am I saying don't read it? No, read it. Understand it. But it's a whole lot more. It was a civic organization. You need to be able to understand the Constitution. You need to be able to understand the law so you know how to govern yourself. So you know how to govern your family. You know how to govern your children and your affairs. If you can't govern yourself, then what you going to do for me? My job is to pick up the next Moor. If I see you slipping, it's my job to pick you up. I don't want no followers. I don't need no followers. I need colleagues. I need people who think like me. I need people who move like me. I need people who see like me. If you can't do none of that, then you're just worth less to me. I ain't saying you gotta be on my level or Cujo's level or Amari's level. I may not be on her level. But at least we can communicate. At least we can talk on the same plane. At least we can relate. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. The prophet, however he died, and it's a mystery. Because we don't know for sure. We know how Malcolm died. We know how Martin died. We know how Medgar Evers died. And we know how Kennedy and his brother died. We know. We know. But the one person who's kept a mystery from everybody, his death is a mystery too. What's the mystery about? Why not pour the covers off of Prophet Noah? Why not teach people about his mission, his work? Because as soon as you find out who you are, and as soon as you accept who you are, they lose. I said to my brother earlier, my uncle made mention to me a couple years ago that it took a few hundred years for them to get us drunk. We've been sipping on that juice for a while. It's going to take a couple hundred years for us to get sober. We already 100 years in. It's 102 now. Let's put the glass down. Let's get some nice clean water. Let's cleanse our minds. Let's cleanse our bodies and our souls. Let's lose the emotion or control the emotion. Let's learn some patience. And let's honor the 5 principles: love, truth, freedom, and justice. Islam.
Islam.
Any questions before I get down? Any comments?
Give me an answer about like, what's the best way to approach teaching the young ones the Constitution and law?
what's the best way to approach teaching the young about the Constitution and law? First, really understanding yourself. Right? So, read the Constitution and understand this, that you don't have to know every phrase, every word in the Constitution. Right? Read. I know when I read, certain things strike me. I get to highlight. Sometimes it looks like my stuff is graffiti. Understand it yourself. Make reference points. Whatever you don't understand, if you come to a word you don't understand, look it up. Whatever phrase you don't understand, reach out. You can call me, you can call the chief, you can call whoever. Understand it yourself, and then slowly teach it to them. They're capable of learning at a faster rate than you know. Make it fun for them. Make those songs out of them. You can make a song out of anything. You know what I'm saying? Get some flashcards. You know what I'm saying? Be creative. Don't just sit them down and say, read the Constitution. It's a lot. It's a lot. But you gotta understand that once you start to understand it yourself, that document that's this big becomes that big. Because now you fully understand it, so you're not looking at it with a strange eye. You're looking at it and you can comprehend it. And then patiently work with those things. Like I said, they're capable of learning at a faster rate than you know. She'll pick it up like this. Yeah, see, you don't want to show her the whole document. Just show her the first couple paragraphs. Let's read this. And make it fun. You know what I'm saying? Even if you got to write it out and put a couple trees on it, make it fun. Children, they like fun. They like colorful stuff. Make it fun. Some flashcards, however. But most of all, be patient. Be patient with yourself as well in your quest of life.
Weeks ago, the relations between the United States and what is that? You think that relates to the whole when you first declared Cuba being that spot that there's a relation going on between that.
I don't know if it's a relation. I don't know if it's a relation with Drew Ali, but when I heard about it on the news that Barack Obama wanted to improve relations with Cuba, you gotta think like this. The media is owned by the corporate elite, right? So they put on the TV what they want you to see and what they want you to hear. Now, imagine this. Me and Cujo don't get along. He don't like me and I don't like him. But Cujo got this big old house, and then the southwest corner of his house, in his backyard, I got a basketball court. And I got a few basketball teams that play on his basketball court every week. But to you, we don't get along. So if I don't like him and he don't like me, why do I have Guantanamo Bay in his backyard? Just something to think about. Now, I don't know if there's any correlation between the two, Drew Ali and the United States. But if the United States and Cuba were really at odds, why is Guantanamo Bay there? Huh?
Probably more
If I don't like him and we don't get along, going back to some 64 Cuban Missile Crisis, then I listen, I'm not, come on man, I'm gonna trust my soldiers in his backyard. There you go. I'm not gonna send my children to somebody's house that I don't like. Because I'm thinking he might cut their throats and leave them out. That Cuban Missile Crisis and all that nonsense can make them do what you good. But if they were really at odds, Guantanamo Bay wouldn't be down. United States, well, I mean, you can look, it's true. It's true. But the only reason they didn't go in there and kill him is because as soon as they trained him to be a double agent, he went down there and Castro went and flipped the script. And when he flipped the script on the United States, he went over to Russia and said, yo, bro, thanks a lot. You got me? Amen. He made allies immediately with Russia. So if the United States folk can't get down his door, Russia coming over here. But, like I said, if it was really that bad, then Guantanamo Bay wouldn't have been there. Anything else?
So you said that once you know yourself and you follow the divine principles of love, peace, harmony, how come the men that sold out didn't know themselves? What is the difference, or what was there? Something had to happen. It doesn't make sense because if we're all learning the same thing,
It makes sense. It makes sense. It's called jealousy. It's called greed. It's
yeah,
called
but
hatred.
those things, jealousy, greed, everything that is opposite of love, peace. So if we're all like, there's still that. For me, there's still a disconnect. Like there's still something. It's like new wine in old wineskin. It's like there's still something that's stopping us from all elevating. But I don't know what it is.
So you know, like I said, the FBI infiltrated the temple. Now, I'm not saying Claude Green Bay was an agent because I don't know. I'm not saying that Lomax Bay was an agent because I don't know. I'm not saying that Seeker, I don't know. But things happen. Things happen. When you look at people, even your most knowledgeable people, you gotta understand that people are who they are. And although I may appear to be pure at heart, I might be a cold-blooded snake, straight up lowlife. Just like I told you, this brother Darth Perry, he went into all these different organizations and he said I was well-liked and well-received. It was a workshop, a writer's workshop in California. And he went to the writer's workshop. Sammy Davis Jr. and a whole bunch of other people came out of that workshop. When he went there, he said the stage was not functional. So he, knowing how to rebuilt the stage and redid the lighting and everything. Do you know it was his same hand that went in there with 2 cans of gasoline and burnt the building down? The same man who came in there and had everybody's love and affection burnt the place down. And he simply said because they said they were about to get grant money that the state didn't want them to get because then they would start making moves that the state didn't want them to make. So FBI got him to burn the joint down. So, like I said, I'm not saying Claude Green Bay was FBI. I'm just saying that the FBI infiltrated the movement. And then the prophet got infiltrated. So when you talk about people's heart, people are who they are. If you want to know somebody's heart, look into their eyes. I'm telling you. It's as soon as you make eye contact with somebody, their eyes will tell you a lot. If they're liars, they'll immediately look away. And as soon as you make eye contact, they'll look away. They won't even look at you when they talk to you because they're full of sugar on the iced tea. You got some people that are great actors. That's what I told him about him. I said, if he Asian, I said, he good. If he Asian, he good. That's what I told him. But that's the truth. So when you talk about the people who infiltrate, people gonna be who they gonna be. Then it doesn't mean because they're rotten people, they don't have the capacity to learn. Highly intelligent, just ain't no good. Anything else? Thank y'all for your time. I thank y'all for welcoming me to my second Prophet Noble Drew Ali Day in Canaanland. I wasn't putting it 7. I was putting it 2. I know. I was just saying my second one in a row. And of course I'll be back. You know what I'm saying? I got an affection for Canaanland. I love my family up there. And sooner or later I'll be back. So thank y'all and peace and love.
Peace and love. All right. So right now we're going to do some intermission time. 3:15. The next session starts at 10 to 4. So you got some time. Check out the vendors. Everybody here is community people. Make sure you support them. Also, I know everybody's waiting for food and food's here. Do your thing. And also, you want to do that? Okay. Anybody who has donations for today? Brother Amari, the white sweater, you can just get at him with whatever donations.
Oh yeah.
Also, the second thing has DVDs, his new book, and some magic crystals. Right? And also too, let's try to keep the place clean so that, because we don't have any caretakers or anything like that. We're the caretakers today, not like yesterday. So let's be do the caretaker thing and keep the place clean. One more announcement.
Just so y'all know, I got copies of this book I wrote up here called Life Resolutions. It's a quick, easy read. I got some DVDs of a couple classes with me and Taj to read. And what's left of the Circle 7 bracelets. But I got these ones that were sent up here by a friend of mine. They of course, crystals wrapped in cotton. They got LED lights on the bottom of them. Anybody want to understand the healing properties of crystals, I'll explain it to you. But you see, like this one has a green light. It corresponds to the chakras in your body. This one is red. Omar took the purple one, so whoever that purple was out of luck. And they said, brother down in Philly, they brought Philly these. And they are 50 notes. DVDs and the books that I sell are 5 notes. And every donation I collect for myself goes to the building of the school back in Philadelphia. And so if anybody's interested, I'll be there.
See y'all in 20 minutes. Chill out.
Too long.
Yeah, for real.
Back into the swing of things.
Yeah. You know it goes sometimes.
We have to look at the divine instructions. Our Holy Quran, our Moor's Holy Quran is our divine creed. That is one of the pieces of our divine creed. Our questionnaire, that is one of the pieces that make up our Islamism. You understand? This Holy Quran, Moor's Holy Quran, is called Divine Instructions. When you open it up, the first thing you see on the inside of my cover, you see know thyself in the law. Then you go to page 3, and you see where the lessons came from. All of that is very important because you have to do a little tracing on those things and check back for yourself. The Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine, Kemet, Palestine, and India. Remember where our Islam comes from. So this book is our divine instruction, and like I said, one of the first things you see is know thyself and thy father God and law. Know thyself and the law. That's a divine commandment. That's a commandment. That is a principle in a sense. So everything that we have is pertaining to a law or coming from a law. Every tenet, belief, principle that we deal with is in relation to a law. So even our principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, those are components that make up our Islamism. See, our Islamism, it's bad. It's not just Islamism is my religion. What does that mean? How can you defend your divine creed if you don't know what it is? When someone tests you and say, well, okay, you're a Muslim, you're a North American Muslim, so what's your creed? Like tell me what y'all believe, what you blah, blah, blah. How do you do this or how do you do that? You must be able to explain these things. It's very important. And you must be able to stand on the fact that Noble Charlie is your prophet. Because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. So, if we claim this is our divine creed, we must know what it is. So, what are some other components that I haven't mentioned off the top of your head right now that anybody in the audience can think of that is a part of our divine creed? That you may think is a part of our divine creed. 9 times out of 10, it will be.
Know thyself.
Pardon me?
Know thyself.
Indeed, know thyself, thy father, God and law. Definitely. That's part of our divine creed. It's one of our beliefs, tendencies. That's something that man is on. How does man know his father-in-law? How does he know the law? He knows the law by being that which he knows, which is himself. So if he's himself, no, he's creator. If he's outside of himself, he's going to know somebody up creator. That's the science behind your own vine and fig to worship under. Because your own vine and fig tree is symbolic of your own customs, traditions, beliefs, tenets, principles, and so on and so forth. It's your own. It's separate from someone else's. So, you know, when we look at that, definitely, that is a part of the divine creed. Anything else? Any other ones?
Man and Allah are one.
Say that again.
Man and Allah are one.
What you say, brother?
Man and Allah are one.
Indeed. Indeed. Definitely. Man and Allah are one. That is one of our beliefs and principles. And like I said earlier, that particular wisdom, man and Allah is one, is only known when man knows Allah, and that is only known by the breath. Only by the marriage that takes place. And that's an inner working that takes place in man. But man and Allah, and Allah turns itself away from creation, this creation themselves away from their own self. Anything else? Any other?
Man knows himself by the foes that he faces.
Say that again, brother.
Man knows himself by the foes that he faces.
Oh, indeed. Again, that going back into our divine creed. That's definitely a part of our divine creed, because man must face foes, and the only foes that he's going to face is his own self. You know what I'm saying? And once he faces that, there is no foes outside of him except for just for the haters. We all got those. I mean, it happens. Here's some other ones. What about our Moorish American prayer? That's a part of our divine creed. That's a part of our Islamism. Matter of fact, Moorish American prayer, when you break it down as an acronym, it spells the word mat. And we know that a mat is a guide. If you use a map correctly, it can help you find the treasure, or whatever you seek it with that map. It'll take you to the destination that might not be known or unknown, but it will take you somewhere. It'll take you to a destination. This is why that is so important, because in our Moorish American prayer, there is attributes. There's two attributes in particular: the protector and the God. Those two attributes are actually a part of the Asma al-Husna, which is known as the 99 names of Allah. In these 99 names, there are 99 names that make up all of the attributes of creation. And what is so beautiful is that in chapter 1 of the Moorish Holy Quran, one of our beliefs, tenets, and principles that we know and understand because we exhibit it and do it through action is that all of the attributes were placed in man. I'm going to read it. The prophet didn't make no mistakes when he did what he did. So I'm going to read this right quick. So spirit man, as a seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of Allah. The attributes, he said. He used the word attributes. Dealing with the 99 names. The attributes. Two of them are in our Moorish American prayer. The protector and the guide, which are two of the most important for any downtrodden and oppressed people who has redemption brought to them. That is something that we ask for consistently. Protection and guidance when we pray, even as we pray unconscious, as not even as Moors, just however we were raised. Dear Lord, protect me and give me guidance. We ask for it all the time because these are the most important things that our people need. But the protection is we need protection from our own self. Because not being in our right selves has caused us much destruction. There is sin in not being yourself. Allah made nations and tribes. Surah 49:13 of the Holy Quran of Mecca teaches you that Allah made nations and tribes so that we may know one another. So Allah made you a particular way. He won of our questionnaire says, who made you? It says Allah. So again, we're looking at the whole thing about who made you and the ideology of nation. Therefore, being black, colored, and Negro, you are in sin, in a sense. Because you're not being yourself. So the truth has been here for 100 years, even before that. But it wasn't known until the prophet brought it to us the way it was brought. We wouldn't know the thing. Well, I'm sure we would have found out, but we wouldn't have found out to the magnitude of the way we have this in the information we have in reference to our nationality and divine creed. You know? So we have to examine all of these things. So our Moorish American prayer, we have the protector and the guide in it. In our Quran, in our Moorish Holy Quran teaches that man has all the attributes of Allah in him. That is a part of our divine creed, our Islamism. Man and Allah is one. Man is planted every attribute in man. So for instance, if someone breaks into my house right now, I'm not going to get on my face and make salat and then sit up and start zikkering, you know, the protector, or al-Muhammin, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pick up the whatever, and I'm going to handle my business. See, I became the protector because the attributes, you know, they reside in me. I become that which I seek. That's the beauty of what the prophet brought us. He brought us self-initiation into the higher mysteries of our own self. We the mystery. So the divine creed is powerful when you really understand what it is. What is the saving power about divine creed? What is the saving power of Islamism? Who knows what it is or has an idea of what it is?
Love.
What you say?
Love.
You said thought?
Love.
You said thought?
L-O-V-E, love.
Love?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's actually thought. Why would you think so? Think about it. Think about the power of thought. The saving power. It's love, but love is a force. And force is the will of Allah. Am I right or wrong?
Right, love.
Exactly. So if force, love is a force is the will of Allah, we're dealing with thought. Thought is the saving power, but how is the thought a saving power? We hear the hadith where the prophet mentions that. Actually, it's not a hadith, pardon me. It's not a hadith. It's actually out of our Holy Quran. It's out of our Moorish Holy Quran, I'm sorry. That true strength is developed by the exercise of thought. And the saving power being thought. And this saving power was passed from Allah through our prophet to us. But the thing is, how does the saving power work? What is the saving power? It's thought, but what does that mean? That means that we have to examine chapter 1. Very powerful, because if I can get you to think, you can save yourself. Now, this is not discussing just simple thought, like when you sit down and you be like, just thinking about some general things, you know what I mean? The prophet is talking about thought stirring the ethers that causes things to happen, that causes things to manifest. This is how you can save yourself, because you can stir the ethers. See, chapter 1 is an invocation. Chapter 1 is teaching you how to invoke air, fire, water, and earth. It is giving you the formula. Remember, we're scientists. This Moorish Holy Quran is a formula. All of our materials is a formula that alters the state of man, that changes his condition. That's the difference between an angel and a prophet. See, Noble Ali, our prophet, was an angel, but he became a prophet. And there's a difference between the two. And the difference is flesh. One is human and the other is no longer human. And the reason it is no longer human, you can find that in your Holy Quran too. It talks about the changing, the altering, and so on and so forth. But this is called alchemy. And this is all a part of our divine creed in Islamism, that man will reach deific life. That doesn't only mean that when the soul completes its task, that it will be one with the law, but it means before that even occurs, man will reach deific life while he lives. That's what this is about. Know thyself and thy Father God in law. The seed becomes the fruit. The 3 steps: belief, faith, and fruition. We are fruition. The first 5 letters of fruition is fruit. The seed becomes the fruit. The seed becomes the fruition. The seed becomes the truth. The seed becomes the source, or representation of the source, or is the source. So, you know, all of this is a part of our Islamism. Like I said, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Those are also attributes of Allah. Those are his names. All those names are his names. Those are his names. You know? So, our job is to become love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But we have to understand what that really means. Because sometimes I think that we have the word love a little twisted at times. And you'll have to soul search on that. Because my ideal of love is not a lot of people's ideal of love. You know, I don't think that the slaves that Harriet Tubman had that gun to their head telling them that they had to go on and keep it moving on the, you know, on the railroad or get popped in the skull, get their wig peeled back. I don't think they was liking her much. I think they felt like she probably hated them. But no, she loved them enough to let them loose, as well as enough to love her people enough to like, yo, you can't do this. That was love that made her pull out the heat. Same with Nat Turner. That's love. People tend to forget what this means. If somebody slaps me, I can't pray for them. I have to slap them back. I love myself enough that I have to slap them back. So we have to begin to advance. Pardon me?
I didn't say anything yet, I just unmuted. But I got a question for you.
Go ahead, brother.
Still building on love. Would you say that the other 4 principles are just as important or more important than love? Because sometimes when you talk about love, especially when you talk about individual love, it's almost a given. Like with my brother, I naturally love him because he's my brother. But you think it's just more important or more important for me to be able to trust him, to be able to, you know, to be able to have peace with him in some form of justice. Because if you don't have peace and you don't have truth, you can't have any justice.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%, brother. You never lie. They all can't have one without the other. What I mean, when I look at the condition, our Moorish Ummah, you know, I look at it and I say, you know, I don't think we know what love is. Because when we say love, we use love in a very divisive form. It's very divisive when we say love. When Moors say, you know, we gotta learn to love instead of hate, and we gotta unify. And then when they call on unity, the unity or the love is under a condition. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, all of those principles are important because they all have to be absorbed. They can't work without each other. They're actually, they all coincide because these are the possibilities of man, because man is spirit, man is Allah. And he has to become these principles. But in order to become these principles, he has to know what these principles really mean, and each one is just as important as the other one. Neither one is greater than any. They have equality because they harmonize with each other. They're the harmonies of life. You know what I'm saying? And that's something else that we believe in our divine, in our divine creed, our beliefs, our tenets, our principles. You know what I mean? Is the highest of virtues. The mother. The mother of virtues. What is another name you give to the highest of? The mother of virtues. See, that's a powerful thought process right there to understand what the prophet is saying, because now he's not integrating gender, he's integrating frequency. Because masculine, feminine principle does not have anything to do with gender. It has everything to do with frequency and energy combination, creating a transformation in man. This is what they mean, this is the quickening of the breath. That man changes in the blink of an eye. This is the science of alchemy. The transferring of metals to gold. Metal being the carnal nature of man, that is carnal self. The transformation from metal to gold, there's a process that undergoes, that makes the metal turn into gold. There's some type of chemical process and so on and so forth that takes place. It's the same thing that's working in man. So the gold is the highest self of the God-man manifested through the transformation. And that's what our divine principles are doing. Our divine principles are to transform us, as well as the implementation of our Moorish Holy Quran and the use of our questionnaire, as well as our other subsidiary component of our Islamism, which is our divine constitution and bylaws. Divine constitution, not constitution and bylaws, but divine constitution and bylaws. Therefore, it is a part of our creed. It is a principle, it's a tenet, belief of our creed, our divine principles, as well as our constitution and bylaws. So, we have a whole bunch of infinite attributes, infinite tenets that we can find all throughout our literature. I'm only touching on a few, but there's so much more to touch on. We can touch on submission. If chapter 1, probably not chapter 1, but in our questionnaire, it talks about meeting the law in the heart. The nearest place you can meet the law is in the heart. How do you think you do that? How do you think that's something that's done? Well, it's done very easy. And this gives us the instructions. Chapter 36, verse 2. I read it. Here we go. Yeah, chapter 36, verse 2. And it says, "Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy Creator with awe, and rejoice before him with reverence." Praise the Creator with awe and rejoice before him with reverence. How do you do that? You do that by remembering the names, by zikkering the names, by utilizing them, by calling on the 99 attributes. There's 99 names, the 99, and they express all the aspects of this particular creation. And you can utilize these names. That's why the prophet got 2 of them in the Moorish American prayers. There's powers in the protector and the God, which is Al-Muhammeen and Al-Hakdi, or Ya-Hakdi or Ya-Muhammeen. That's how you would zikr those. You know what I'm saying? That's how you would say those. Or you would say your Moorish American prayer consistently over and over again with your prayer beads. So there's many ways. We have to also look at the faith. The faith of the prophets. The faith of Jesus. Our Moorish Holy Quran talks about the faith. It's called, self-realization of faith. It's chapter 7. You know what I'm saying? In chapter 7, verses, I think it's verse 22. Chapter 7, verse 22. Yeah, chapter 7, verse 22 through 26. And I'll read that. like to call him, is a very vocal component of our divine creed in Islamism, because Jesus is the example that is utilized in this particular scripture. For it is in his teachings or in his lessons that he's describing for us here that we find exercise and that we find jewels that help us to move forward with the development of the God side. So it says, and again Lamas asked of wisdom, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the consciousness that man is all, that Allah and man are one, that naught is naught, that power is but illusion, that heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in, which in the light of all becomes naught, and Allah is all. Lamas asked, pray, what is faith? And Jesus said, faith is the surety of the omnipotence of Allah and man, the certainty that man will reach deific life. That is a part of our divine creed, the certainty that man will reach deific life. That is the faith and the wisdom of the prophets. You know what I mean? Because what Jesus demonstrated, the prophets before him demonstrated the same thing. There was nothing different in the demonstration except by the way that they gave it to their particular nation. The food was the same, it was just that the way it was distributed was different. You know what I mean? So the prophets was a brotherhood. So we have to, again, look at exactly what our divine creed consists of. It consists of a lot of things. There's tons of chapters that you can go in and pull out anything pertaining to a law, any belief in a principle. But the biggest aspect of our divine creed, our Islamism, is the union of Allah, is the union of Allah and man is one. That is the underlying tenet and principle. That man and Allah is one. That is the focal point. That man and Allah is one. That there is no separation. That relationship is bonded. You know. So when we have to pull out all of the pieces of our divine creed, and we have to examine it so we know what it is. Everything, our symbols, the signs and symbols of the Moor Science Temple of America are pieces of our divine creed because they are beliefs, tenets, and principles, even though they are symbols. The all-seeing eye is a law. That is a belief. That's our belief. That symbol is a symbol of our belief of Allah being the Lord of the worlds. You know what I mean? The hand clasp, what we call unity. That's deep because that unity not only stands for the unity here that we have on the planet Earth, but it is the unity of Allah and man. My hand in the hand of Allah, and all is well. No middleman or intercessor. You understand? So these symbols have meanings, the star and the crescent. That is a part of our divine creed in Islamism. You understand? So everything is a part and parcel. Our feds, our religious and national headdress is a part of our divine creed. You know what I mean? So this is what the divine creed is. It's just not Islamism. It's just not just the word Islamism. There are things that's involved in your divine creed. Your divine creed can be explained. You know what I'm saying? It can only be explained if you're attempting to live it. The prophet said in our questionnaire that the question is how did Noble Dwelling began uplifting the Moors by teaching them to be themselves. He began to teach us to be ourselves. He began. Who's going to finish? He's gone. So how do we become ourselves? Because he left the instructions, and they're divine instructions. So within these instructions is how you become yourself, and then more. When you open up, you begin to see things. Like I was saying earlier, the power of thought is the ability to stir the ethers. That's the saving power, being able to call on things and call them at will and so on and so forth. That's the saving power. That's being able to think. That's what that means. If you can think, you can save yourself. That's what that means. It don't mean just on the secular level, because we can think on the secular level. We do it every day. We save ourselves in our lower selves every day. We hustle, we did all types of stuff. We was thinking all the time. But we wasn't thinking. We wasn't exercising thought. We was just thinking. There's a difference. So that's the power in our divine creed. That's the saving power, is the ability to think in such a way that your thoughts stir the ethers and cause things to happen, basically. I mean, we're scientists. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, what makes rain, hailstorm, and earthquakes, and basically he said the Son of Man, he's correct. In a sense, he's correct. That was a correct statement. Because we are connected to the universe, and the universe is connected to us. The universe learns from us just as well as we learn from it. We feed it all the time. So, this is a part, again, of our divine creed. So is there any questions? Anybody want to ask me anything while I take a little, second, take a breath?
Anybody got? I got one.
What's up, Mark?
What's on, brother?
You had, I see that you got your YouTube page up right now. And you had a couple, you started off uploading some videos. Could you, go into detail of maybe 2 or 3 of those videos that you put up?
Which ones?
Whichever one you think is pertinent to the right view.
Oh, okay. All right, we mentioned time is like ages. And that's part of our divine creed, that we measure time in cycling ages. And what that means is that, we deal with the ages of time. We deal on the cosmic clock cycle. You understand? And that's a beautiful thing because, as you know, many of you probably know, we are moving into the age of Aquarius. We're transitioning into the age of Aquarius. And that age is a very powerful age because this is the age of knowing. Anybody out there who knows about astrology or anything of that nature and knows about ages of time and so on and so forth, you know that each age of time had a name or had a power name or a power word or a power phrase assigned to it. Each age. You know what I'm saying? So when we look back, we're falling out of the age of Pisces. You know what I'm saying? And that power phrase was, I believe. So with that ideology, I believe, you see right now in witnessing the destruction and the crumbling of man-made religions. They're falling apart. They're being exposed. They're falling apart. Just things are just falling apart from it. They're just falling all over the place. So what happens is we're moving, because we're moving out of a belief age and moving to an age of knowing, you are watching an age of time cycle itself out. Many people are confusing this for the end of the world and so on and so forth. The end of times, World War III and blah, blah, blah. This is the end of an age. This is the end of a world. This is the end of a system this is the end of a system. A system is being broken and destroyed, and a new world, or a new system, will take its place. A new age is coming in. So we're watching a transition. You understand? So in this transition, it was recognized by, again, power phrases. The power phrase of Aquarius is I know. So we're moving into the age of I know, which makes our most holy Quran Circle 7 so on time, which makes our prophets so on time, because this information really took hold in the year 2000. The year 2000 is when everybody started hearing about Moor science. From 2000 till now, that's all you hear about is Moor science. Be it negative, positive, it's all over the place. You understand what I'm saying? Because it would only be in the time of Aquarius or the age of Aquarius where man could know that these things that the prophet brought us could really be understood now. Could really be understood now. This is the spirit of the law. All the physical materials that the prophet brought us are the spirit of the law because they are his words. So they're the spirit of the law. And those words must be eaten and digested so that man becomes the spirit of the law. The prophet said if you want to be a good Moorish leader, you study your 3 pieces of literature. Because there's power in that literature. Because once you get it and get the understanding, you become a different being. And it leads you into other things. You understand? So the divine creed is very powerful. It's vast. There's so many different pieces of it, all throughout our Moorish Holy Quran, all throughout our Circle 7s and so on and so forth. So it's identified. The last age, the age of Pisces, which is why Jesus was identified with fish, and so on and so forth, and the symbol was the fish, and all those things because it's identifying the age. And the same thing with the age of Aquarius. We know that that age is now because they have witnessed the Son of Man in the heavens. And I don't mean that they witnessed some physical man in the heavens, but we have a thing called constellations. And constellations move in the cosmic clock. And the constellation of Aquarius is identified as a man pouring out a water bottle. So a man, you know, the Son of Man seen in the heavens. That's the symbolic, the symbolism. So we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is to mean I know water is wisdom, and so on and so forth. He's pouring the water out. That means he's spreading the knowledge. He's spreading the wisdom. That's symbolic. So in this age of Aquarius, it is to know, which is why the prophet said, "Know thyself and thy Father God of law." There was nothing left to doubt. You know, in all of the prophets, in all of the times that the prophets was dealing, you know, in those expressions, those principles were at work. That was all ages of time. You know what I'm saying? When Abraham pulled the ram out of the bush, that was the age of Aries. And when Moses came off the mountain, and there was a golden calf, that was the age of Taurus, and so on and so forth. You know, you got the ages are there. You know, you got the angels, the four faces, the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of a bull, and the face of an eagle. So you got Leo, you got Aquarius, you got Taurus, and you got Scorpio. Four fixed signs. You know what I mean? So this is all symbolism. But these are how the ages are described. So we measure time in cyclic ages. So I was just giving you an example of how you could measure ages, you know, some of the ages in the Bible, what age they were in by the signs and the symbols that they were using. You know, that's how they work because the Bible is a coded book. It's a sealed book. It's coded. It's a coded book. You can't read it literally. You go crazy. But on that note, that is a part of what we was dealing with, you know, the age. So we're in the age of Aquarius, so it's I know. So that's what we're dealing with now. I know. There is no belief, you know, there's no beliefs no more. The belief systems are shot. Hold on a second, we'll turn on some lights, hold on. Slump, y'all see me? Oh yeah. So moving into the age, you know, the age of Aquarius, this is the age of I know. So there is no reason why you don't know, because the answers are here. You understand? And for those who choose to try to not know and try to stay ignorant, you will be forced to a higher spiritual thinking, to a higher spiritual process. And if you don't make the transition in peace, you will probably end up in a rubber room somewhere and knocking your head against the wall. Because we're in a different time period. And this time period is about man becoming what he knows. Where are we taught? A man is not what he's told. A man is what he knows. So in that statement, you have the measure of two ages. You have the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius in that statement, in a prophetic form. The prophet was speaking from the age of Pisces, speaking into the age of Aquarius. A man is not what he's told. So being told something, you know what I'm saying, is not knowing something. Being told something is what leads to beliefs. You see what I'm saying? So a man does not know by being told. A man is what he knows. So the age coming in is man being what he knows, the age of Aquarius. And this is a part of our Islamism. You know what I'm saying? Measuring time in cyclic ages. Doing what our forefathers and foremothers did without a doubt or a contradiction, making us more, the descendants of Moroccans born in America. That is a part of our divine creed also. Everything is our divine creed. Everything. The Holy Quran, this is called divine instructions. You know? Questionnaire You know what I'm saying? And you know, when you look at it, the only time you see the word religion is actually is inside of it. Because on the back, you just see religious affidavit, but nowhere in the workings do you see the word religion, but you do see the word faith. Because all the prophets exhibited faith. That is the true religion in a sense. Abraham exhibited faith, Noah exhibited faith, they all exhibited faith. You know, Prophet Muhammad exhibited faith, they all exhibited faith. Faith is, the prophet exhibited faith. You know what I mean? So, and faith is the surety that man will reach the end of life. It's a certainty. You know? So on that, and with that, those are just some of the pieces of our Islamism. And there's so much more that we can examine. You know, our Circle 7, the symbol itself is a divine symbol. It is a part of our Islamism. That's why it's mentioned in our questionnaire. In a sense, how many days are in a circle? How many days are in a year? So on and so forth. So every aspect that we have in Moorish science is divine. And it has to begin to be starting to be examined as such. We have so many masterminds at law. We need spiritual masterminds too. We need those other Moors who can, you know, we get together, we can go outside and make it rain and do some other stuff that need, you know, whatever. You get 7 of us together and things can happen. You know what I'm saying? So that takes training. You know, there's things, you know, there's training that, you know, that you have to have. And the training is here. It's in your Holy Quran. It's in here. It tells you where to go to get you the lessons and so on and so forth. You have to examine. Whenever you get a book or anything, you always examine the author, who wrote the book, his background, so on and so forth. So when the prophet said that these secrets was let loose by the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine, that means you need to go do some studies into the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine. And what you will find is that most of those Muslims, or if not all of them, were Sufis. That's a very important statement. Sufis. Sufis are the mystics of Islam. They are the ones that most Muslims will talk against. And, you know, and say they're not Muslims because they have saints and so on and so forth, and they visit shrines and do other things, you know what I'm saying? But the Sufis deal with banning the law as one. They deal with the union, you know, they deal with a lot of other things. But that's something that you should study, you should look into, you know? You should also look into anything that Jesus did in our Holy Quran. Anything he did, any studies he underwent, you should take a look at it too. Anything he was doing, he read the Guatemala, he read the books of, you know, he read the Psalms, he read the books of Guatemala, he read the Avesta, he read the Bhagavad Gita, and a whole bunch of other stuff, Manichaean, Judaism, laws, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? He studied some of these things. He meditated by the flowing springs. He meditated. Meditation is a powerful thing because that is one way that Allah speaks to man. And that is a part of our tenet and belief. That's another part of our divine creed and principles. That's another part of Islamism, that Allah speaks to man in 2 ways. That he speaks to man through creation, and that he speaks to man in a still small voice. But man must sit still in order to hear that still small voice. You understand? So sitting still is meditation. That's why you should do it. You know, contemplation, meditation, those things are very important. To call on his name is very important. You know, that ties back to the Quran of Becca, that ties back to our Holy Quran Circle 7 in the book of religion. And so, you know, these are important components. So, you know, we pray. But it's not in the conventional manner. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't understand that Allah and man is one. So the prayer is not outside yourself. connection to the higher power that exists within you, which is connected to the greater energy outside of you, which is everywhere, which is all around everything. It's connected to everything. So that's what our creed, our divine creed, consists of. Those are some of the things that it consists of. Are there any questions?
Anybody else got?
So I had a question. In the Red Book, which I guess is supposed to be read hand in hand with the Quran, they talk about the 7 spirits that were, and then there were 7 others. I'm connecting those with the 7 planets, which are the ruling planets, and the 7 spirits possibly being the planets in the spirit. Could you expound on that?
Well, you pretty much right. It's also the planes of existence. Remember the 7 planes? Remember the 7 planes? Protoplasm, Earth, protoplasm, so on and so forth. All those planes fell.
Chapter 1?
Yeah, remember? Yeah, chapter 1 and chapter 11. Chapter 1 and chapter 11 goes together. By the way, when you read chapter, you should read chapter 11 after.
Are there any other correlated chapters?
Yeah, chapter 3, 10.
Sorry, go through those again.
Chapter 11, chapter 1, and chapter 11 correlate together. Chapter 3 and chapter 10 correlate together. Now, if you add that up, you got 12, 11 and 1 is 12, 10 and 3 is 13. 12 plus 13 is 25, which is chapter 25, which is the divine covenant. 5 plus 2, 2 plus 5 is 7, which is the meaning of truth. Chapter 7. So that's the math on that. Islam. Those should always be read.
Say that again, repeat that please. Say that one more time.
They should all be read in combination like that. Or, on your own great studies or whatever. Sorry, man. Just write it out.
Boy, is it a good work. Anybody got more questions? Yeah. I wanted to say, because we're dealing with Dualide, if you could speak on the Prophet himself and the perspective that Moor should have of him and what he's done.
Okay. First of all, you gotta give honor where honor is due. You know what I mean? I mean, Noble Ali did something that was great. He made us remember. Noble Ali is not only our prophet, but he's a divine warner and a divine reminder. You know what I'm saying? That man is a part that we are men and women, that we actually are a part of the human family. You understand? He brought us back to the playing field of the human family. I don't believe our people know how severe slavery is or how it was and what it really did to us. You know what I'm saying? If they really examined it, they would be able to see that we are still living under the guise of the leftover remnants of oppression. We are mentally destroyed. A lot of us are doing good where it seems to be, but we're mentally beat to death. And the prophet told us that the worst form of slavery was the mental slavery, which is why he came to save us from the mental slavery. Now, he was saying this way back in 1913. You understand? So we have to give him credit as our first Americanized made prophet. He's a prophet from these shores, which basically, fulfills the Holy Quran of Mecca. Surah 14:4, which says, For verily I have sent a messenger to every nation, speaking the language of that nation, making the message clear. So when Drew Ali came to teach us Islam, or give us Islamism, give it back to us, give us our divine feedback, that was prophecy. And he did it in our language. See, think about this. 1913, some dude, you know, pop up speaking Arabic to our people at that time. He probably got murdered. You know what I mean? Like, just probably got beat up, robbed, something, who knows? You know what I mean? So, he had to come and speak our language. We couldn't have a foreigner come to us. A foreigner couldn't come to us. It wouldn't work. So he sent someone right from us. You understand? Who was raised, who knew what it was to be called nigger, who knew what that meant, who knew what that was, the whole plight behind all that. So he was raised amongst the people he was sent to save, just like all prophets were in divine scriptures. They were raised amongst the very people that they were gonna save. Because who can save a certain people except one who knows the condition of the people? That is why he formed our Holy Quran. He's the only prophet who loved us a book. He formed the Holy Quran specifically, divinely prepared it specifically for the condition of our people. A sickness that we had. You know what I'm saying? And he gave us a prescription. And all we have to do is use it properly. We have to give credit where credit is due, because we would not have remembered any of this if it wasn't for him. We had a divine intervention, because our people still suffer from cultural amnesia. We still are suffering from the three blows, you know what I mean, that symbolically, that they ritualize in masonry, you know what I'm saying, which is actually symbols of the destruction of our civilization, the knocking off of our knowledge and our language and our character and so on and so forth. You know, nobility, royalty, all that. They knocked that down. The prophet returned it. He returned it. He gave us back everything we need. And he also was the first one to be recognized as a national and international head of state. If anybody knows law or politics or whatever, you know what a head of state means. You know what I'm saying? And how could a Negro be recognized as the head of state or an international head of state? How could a Negro do that? A Negro couldn't do it. So he wasn't a Negro, regardless of what you read and what you heard. He did some outstanding things. You know, he went to Cuba. He was there because I went to Cuba in 2001, looking for the 6th annual Pan American Conference. And I got to Cuba and got to the library and saw every Pan American Conference except for the 6th one, because it was nowhere in existence. It was missing. And they said it had been missing for some time, for some years. So that's how I knew he was there, because it was missing. But every other Pan American Conference was there. So the prophet did some amazing things for our people. But we don't understand it because we don't recognize nationality. And we don't understand nationality. But we would understand our nationality better if we understood our spirituality. Because when you know who your deity is, you know what nation you come from. Because Allah created nations and tribes. You know, it's hard to know your nation and then know your deity. When you know your deity, you know the nation from which you suspend or from which you come from. You understand? So the prophet returned all of that information to us. You know, he did something in 3 years. You know, in 1925, he announced himself as a prophet. From 1913 to 1925, he was an angel. He was Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept. 1925, he came back as the prophet, and he announced his prophethood. And from 1925 to 1928, which is 3 years, he did something symbolically to what Jesus did in the scriptures, quote unquote, in 3 days. Built the house up in 3 days. Raised the house in 3 days. He did the same thing, 36 temples. You know what I'm saying? 15 major temples and 21 subordinate temples. 36 border states in 3 years with no TV, with no telephone, with no internet. Nothing. Just putting in work. So you gotta give the credit where the credit is due. You know, you gotta give the credit where the credit is due. Many nations, quote unquote, in our conscious societies or whatever, got to give credit because you're using our signs and symbols. You know, any gang that's standing on the 5 principles and all that, that comes from the prophet. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Algonquins, Black Peach Stone, all that. That's all, they use all more science symbols. You see, so, you know, the prophet is everywhere. The prophet used the term 101 first. After he used 101, then the university systems picked up the term 101. Site 101, education 101, blah, blah, blah. They picked that up. So, you know, you gotta give credit where it is, to where it's due. He's our prophet. And he's a prophet because he brought back something to us that we didn't know. And not only that, he's our prophet because he's made prophecies that have come to pass. And I'll give you one for instance. There's a prophecy where he talks about there will come a time when they'll be able to drop a bomb, right pinpoint it right at your shoe. They'll be able to drop it, they'll be able to pinpoint it right where they want to pinpoint it and drop it at a precise point, basically what he's saying. Well, that's the drone today. That's the drone. They can pinpoint, drop it at a point at any, they can drop it anywhere on a dime if they want to. So, you know, that's just one, but it's tons of them. It's tons of prophecies that's come to pass that he's talking about. You know what I mean? Our money isn't worth anything. The food is poison. You have to boil the water. We've had so many outbreaks in different cities where you had to boil water in America, just recently. You know, one city had to do it for like a week, boil their water and blah, blah, blah. So, a lot of stuff. So, we got to give it to him, man. You can't, you know, he's divinely prepared to set by the law. He was appointed, consecrated, and anointed a prophet. And there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it that no Ujali is a prophet because he is. There's no doubt about it in my mind. There's no doubts at all. You can't sway me in any form to say he's not. Peace.
Islam, another question, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Islam, Mark. Yasun El.
Yes, sir.
I wonder if you could give some insight. You spoke on it a little bit about the gender, the difference between the masculine and feminine energies, and maybe you could elaborate on the terms too, like the difference between mother, father, or the correlation of how they connect, and why we use father or the term father when it's feminine, masculine energy, and the term Allah is a feminine name. So could you break down that energies, because there's a lot of goddesses in the building right now too, and most of us grew up with that energy as that patriarchal energy, right? And most of our women still have that energy, so and we still call upon he and him, and so can you maybe break down the terminology and how the energies relate with each other?
Well, you know, it's basically when you're dealing with the masculine and the feminine energy, you're just dealing with magnetic and electric. Magnetic and electric. You know what I mean? That is the frequencies. And one is feminine and one is masculine. And you know, in all that process, when you're dealing with that energy, what's going on inside of you is a combination. See, remember, the prophet had to speak a particular language. He was coming to a particular people. You know what I mean? Because remember, our people already knew about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. See the word Father in there? You see what I'm saying? So our people knew about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, so the prophet used certain words in order to get them to our people, which is why he wrote about Jesus the most in this Holy Quran, which is why he used Jesus as the example, because that's where our people were, that's what our people knew. So he came to them in the way in which they knew. That's why Jesus is on our nationality card. Whenever I talk to a Christian, I show my nationality card and say, look, we deal with Jesus too. You know what I'm saying? Which allows a conversation, which allows me to flip them in about 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same type of thing with the energies. The energies are just magnetic and electrical. As well as mother being the higher self. That is with the breath. Breath relates to spirit. Breath is the manifest of spirit. They're interrelated. Spirit, breath, that's a feminine energy. That's a feminine principle. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't have anything to do with gender. It's just a feminine principle because breath gives life. From breath. If a woman is pregnant, what do they tell her to do to get the baby out besides push? Breathe. Somebody say it. Breathe. Breathe, man. Breathe. Breathe, right? So, breath is a feminine principle. You understand? the thought, the will, it's the masculine principle, it's the masculine entity. It helps push the breath, and the breath helps push the will. It counter-relates intercourse, and it gives rise to a manifestation. In other words, we call that, people call it a different way, the law of attraction. What you believe, what you magnetize, and what you get, and it's the same thing. Basically, that's what it is. You're bringing into existence what you're thinking, what you thought, and that process is masculine and feminine in a sense. It's esoteric. It's husband and wife having a relationship, producing, but this is all happening inside of man because a law is genderless. There is no man and woman. That doesn't exist with the name of law. What happens is that a law splits dimensions of frequencies, and on the physical manifest, we have man and woman because we're in a physical place, and man and woman is separate. It seems to be, but we're united. Everything is united by the cord of life. First of all, I mean they showed you that in you heard that from the Hakuna Matata in The Lion King, the circle of life, a circle, done with the circle. Small symbolism, but hey, it's there. You understand? So when we look at all of those things and we understand that there is no separation and that everything that was split, and it wasn't really split, it just split because we're on this plane of things they manifest, where things have to be physical, because that's how we comprehend and that's how we're moving through this particular plane. But all is one. If you look at the yin and yang symbol, most people tell you like, yo, that's positive and negative. That's two different things.
That's what I was just going to ask you, Moor.
But it's not two different things, brother. It's not. It can't be two different things because it's caught in one circle. They're not separate. They're together. And it seems to be that they're separate because they're in this round circle and one is light and one is dark and one is the opposite way and blah, blah, blah. And the interpretation of duality is what gets us off track. Because there is no duality. Everything is one. Everything is just the multiplicity of the one. Islam.
So well, I'm trying to understand it and just have a discussion here. So feminine is the energy that creates and masculine is the process of that.
Yes.
Then you also tie in the negativity and the positivity because there's a lot of confusion because as far as layman understanding, positive energy is good and negative energy is bad, but I know better. So could you elaborate on it and just like you were talking about before, how it's all one, and one can't go without the other?
That's what I was going to say. You can't, when you start separating positive and negative, you call that duality, you start separating, you look already. They're the same thing. You are positive and negative. Your body is composed of neutrons, protons, and electrons when you break it down to its highest component. Outside of your, under your flesh and outside of your cells and all that, you are a body of light. So positive and negative, a lot of times positive and negative is misconstrued because of the secular understanding that we have about positive and negative. They're one. There is no difference between positive and negative. They are the same component, working in opposite directions of each other at times.
So as far as it pertains to masculine and feminine energy, negative energy is represented by the female, to my understanding, because it's constant flow.
You're right. You're coming from exactly what perspective you're coming from. You're coming from a Taoist perspective, which is a beautiful perspective because it ties right in to exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And what we have to get past is the term negative in this connotation. In this connotation, it is not a bad thing. It's not wicked, it's not evil, it's not nothing. It's not anything like that.
But that was done to...
Right. That was exactly that was done to destroy the woman. Subjugate her to the war.
And then I wanted to go on, you were touching on the electron and proton and neutron, and I realized that tied in chapter 1, or I think it was the chapter that talks about things that cannot be seen by the eyes. I think that was talking about us and who and what we are, which are all of those things. And we are at a level where we are vibrating at such a slow level that we've now become flesh.
Right. I agree. Very good, brother. Remember, Moorish science is self-initiation. The more you study, the more doors open up for you in the scriptures. This Moorish Holy Quran has power in it. I'm telling you, the way he wrote it, man, the more you read it, the more you begin to see things. You begin to be able to put things into a particular perspective and dealing with the self. Because again, not only is it on time for the time, but it's accenting the age of Aquarius. It's helping you to move into that church.
Islam, I wanted to say, because I've been reading it every night, and what I realize is that this is the book. This is it. This has to be broken down, and every time I read it again, it is so simple, yet it is so complex, but it is the answer to everything.
Yeah. They can tell them, bro. Don't try to prove it.
So an example of that energy would, like, you can relate it to electricity with a light switch. When the light switch is off, it's dormant, which is positive energy, which equates to perfection, because there's nothing else it can do. The light switch turns on, there's that negative flow now, so now it does what it needs to do.
Right.
And one can't.
You see how the negative flow gives it the push.
Yeah.
See, that's just like in reality. A real good, strong queen will always have her foot in her king's ass all the time.
Islam.
Give him a good push. I'm serious. I'm serious. You know what I'm saying? People be like, oh, brother, you know, the woman, yo, she has just as much rights as you, brother. If not more.
More, exactly.
So you're 100% correct again, bro. You doing good, man. You stay on your job. you keep doing that, man. You gonna be floating next year.
It's too early. There's a lot more.
You gonna be levitating next year. I'm serious.
I know.
You're really, what lesson did Moor Quality bring to the system, specifically with regard to his teaching?
With regard to what?
With his teachings, or from his teachings.
Well, you know, one of the best aspects of the teachings from the Prophet for the woman is the virtuous examples of Elizabeth and Mary. In chapter 2. You know what I'm saying? That is the example of womanhood to me in our Holy Quran Circle 7, as well as the instructions and, you know, the social instructions, you know, about being a good wife and so on and so forth. And, you know, being a good wife and raising children and things of that nature. But the best example, the best lesson to me is in the examples of Mary and Elizabeth. And how they were prepared and how they were seasoned to teach their sons certain information, to make them know that they were the revealers of light, so on and so forth. So that means that these mothers had to have a particular amount of wisdom given to them. They had to study and so on and so forth. They were prophesied to be sitting with the elders, with the sheikhs and so on and so forth, with the old heads. You know what I mean? With the people with the knowledge and so on and so forth. They were predicted to be there. So it is for me a good, strong queen, a good, strong Moorish woman, a good woman, period, will be a teacher. Teaching her children. And not necessarily being concerned about her man, because if he's doing what he's supposed to do, ain't no concerns there.
Islam.
Yep.
Here comes Mama Maida. She needs to ask the question first.
Is that internet connection problem?
Islam.
You have to switch.
I don't know what happened, brother. Can you see me?
Yeah. So can I just, there's two other people, Moors here who want to ask questions, but I wanted to to sort of clarify something. It seems to me that since this book is a template for all of us to follow, Mary and Elizabeth are the templates for the feminine energy to follow, and that goes along with the marriage chapter as well. So that what this is all about is all of us becoming so-called Jesus, or all of us.
Indeed, translate. This is what the prophet said: "No thy spouse and thy father, God, the law." How do you think you're supposed to do that? How do you think you're supposed to know law? I say it all the time that only the law will. Islam.
Islam, Moor.
Islam, sister.
Mocha, LB, nice to be talking to you.
Alhamdulillah. You know I can't see you.
Okay, I can see you.
That's good.
You mentioned earlier that, the teachings came out of ancient Kemet, but the prophet used biblical references in order to be able to speak to the people in the language that they could understand. So my question is, now that we understand a little bit more about these biblical references and where they come from, can we not use some of the teachings of ancient Kemet? For instance, you mentioned Mary and Elizabeth. When I look at, those references, I think of people like Osset, you know what I mean? And some of the other ancient figures from back in ancient Kemet.
I don't see a problem with that because I'm always for the saying when I'm not
Mute it back.
I use generally, but I don't see anything wrong with the correlation because this is the old time religion.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? But when you're sharing all of when you're doing that, you must be able to correlate between what's in the Quran, the Holy Quran, Circle 7, or the Moorish Holy Quran, what's in there, and in the lessons, and Kemet, and how it works. How it works together, how it's the same thing. If you can do that, then it's not a problem. But you never want to put some information on someone and they waking up and they don't really get it, you leave them confused.
Well, that's the thing though, is the fact that we're talking about ancient.
Islam, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Unmute her.
Islam.
Islam.
Did you hear me, sister?
I can hear you, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you well.
Yeah, I was asking that question because of the fact that now that we're getting more into the knowledge of ancient Kemet, you know what I mean? And we're not living as people lived 100 years ago. I think it's important that we're able to do that still, because when we're talking about more science and we're talking about ancient Kemet, people will ask the question, why are we talking about Jesus? Why are we giving all these biblical references and we're not getting anything from ancient Kemet? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again, you got to remember that this is this organization so it would start at preschool. And you got to also remember that the majority of our people are still in the church.
Right, yeah.
So we still have to get to them. Once you get somebody in the temple and you wake them up, it doesn't matter how you teach the degree as long as you're teaching it in a way that's conducive to more science. As long as it matches, because we're allowed to use our own customs and traditions as long as it coincides with, what the prophet demonstrated. So when you're meeting people, of course you meet them where they are. Right. But of course you're going to take, that's what the prophet had the attic chamber for, in a sense. The attic chamber was where you went in and you learned about Jesus and Osiris or whatever, possibly, who knows? I've never been in the prophet's attic chamber, so I've never been in any attic chamber, so I don't know. But that's what we had an attic chamber for, though, because it was to teach higher understanding of the lessons. You see what I'm saying? So, on with that, don't only focus on Kemet, you still got Palestine and India to focus on. If you want to break it down like that, you got to use all three pieces of where your Islam comes from, which is Palestine, India, and Kemet. So you got to break it all down. So you got to correlate all of it.
Thank you.
Islam.
Thank you. One love, brother.
One love, son. Islam.
you said you went to Cuba. When was that?
2001.
June 2001.
Okay, and being that you said you looked for information on the 6th Pan American Conference, you didn't find it, but is there anything that you found of interest that's relevant to the Moor science or even historical?
The only thing I found that was interesting was I found in the Museum of La Revolucion, I found a picture of the prophet, and they had him labeled as a Mexican revolutionary. That was it. There was nothing written. That was it. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the book. They couldn't find it. They couldn't find the records. The records had been missing for years, according to them. Islam, brother.
I had a question. When you were saying that this was the 6th Pan American Conference, I found it interesting, I think either in the Red Book or in the Quran, that it talks about him being the 6th prophet. Do you think there was some connection to that?
Brother, there is no strange coincidences. It's all fixed. So anything be possible, brother, with the prophet. You know? Anything. So I'm sure in reference to him, there's always a divine connection.
Islam.
Islam.
Anybody else?
It doesn't seem like there's any more questions, but I did actually.
Sorry, I do have a question. This is relating back to the things that are not seen by human eyes, but are seen by the eyes of the soul. And connecting the soul to the mind.
Hold on, Islam.
The soul and the mind?
We didn't hear the question.
Well, you know, the mind is not the soul. They're two different entities. As a matter of fact, nowhere on the physical body can you find the mind. And nowhere on the physical body can you find the soul. But you can find the soul's physical counterpart on the physical body, which is the brain. You know what I'm saying? The brain is the physical counterpart of the soul. The mind is outside of the body, but it's connected to everything. It's connected to the body, but it's outside of the body. It's connected to everything. Mind is in everything. You understand what I'm saying? Mind is. You know what I mean?
Would that be the collective mind?
Mind, the collective mind, humanity's mind is connected to one mind. And that mind, in that particular divine mind, whatever you want to call it, is everywhere. It's everything. It's in everything. It's everywhere. You can't run from it. It is everything. The divine mind is everything. It is the cosmic mind stream. It's everything. It's all places. They have names. You can't, you know, it's everywhere. The soul has an ending, because it has a beginning.
So, but I'm connecting that with the things that each one of us sees on our own planes that we cannot see with human eyes.
Okay, well check this out. When you're talking about planes of existence and being able to see into other planes, that's what we call seeing behind the veil. You know what I'm saying? And what you're looking at, a lot of that can be done consciously. We do it all the time when we go to sleep, because we're trapped in the soul in the astral plane when we're resting. You know what I'm saying? But that can be done consciously. And sometimes you can see into other planes and other dimensions and so on and so forth, because the spirit world and the physical world are merging. They're very close together now because of the age we're in. You know what I'm saying? You might be sitting in your living room and your grandmother just pop up in front of you. She's been gone for like 20 years. She might just pop up. An image, you know what I mean, like imprints. Just it's crazy right. Things is crazy right now. And when you tune in, you'll see how high the spiritual frequencies are. It's stuff around us all the time, unseen. And some things you can see. A lot of people right now are beginning to see shadows. See shadows all over the place. You know what I mean? So it's speeding up. Right now, sometimes you could be sitting at home And you can be thinking about the person. In 5 minutes, they call you and knock on your door. Or you'll walk outside and you'll be driving by, or you'll walk to the store, they're in the store. Like, everything is speeding up, telepathy, everything. And if we're conscious of it, we can begin to utilize it to our benefit. So in order, we all can see beyond the veil. You have to prepare yourself to see beyond the veil. You take a fast. You know, our Holy Quran, our Lord's Quran has 3 facts in it. You have a 3-day fast, a 7-day fast, and a 40-day fast. That's in our Holy Quran, Moore's Holy Quran. Those fasts are powerful because they work different aspects of the, you know, of the human being, of the spiritual aspect. But regardless, fasting is very important for preparation. Fasting, meditation, zikkering, prayers, visualization, all of that. That prepares you, the vehicle for sight. That prepares you to travel. Remember, the best place to travel is the land of fleshless things, where things aren't being flesh. It's wrong.
It's wrong. You got about 5 minutes.
Okay.
You want you to
There's one more question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Venom. When are you coming?
Soon, brother. Inshallah, soon, man. I'm speaking tonight, man.
All right, well, we're waiting.
Struggling, man. I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna get up there, man. Trust me. I'm gonna get there.
When we talk to the Grand Chief, maybe we can work something out or something. Anyways, we need to
Yes,
hear.
sir. Gratitude.
Ajua Big.
Peace, sister.
Peace, love. I know of a sister in a situation where she had a child taken from her, and I'd like to know, like, where would I start in guiding her towards getting her daughter back from these children aid services?
Oh, sister.
And like, in the situation is like she's born in New Orleans, and her daughter was born here with a man who was born here, and yeah, they want to send her back, but she wants her daughter back. So I don't know.
Okay. Alright. The Grand Chief Cujo Hill knows very well that I'm not a lawman at all.
You're the spirit, huh?
Spirit man, yeah. That's the second law. We got brothers that do that. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you, I stay in my lane, man. I stay in my lane. I don't big area down. I stay in my lane. I do what I do. I stay where I do where I can change things happen. That's right.
Okay.
So I'm sure the brother can give you some guidance, son. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Queen.
Anybody else?
Good.
Everybody good? All right. This is official now. We got about 5 minutes. So just free reign and, you know, whatever you need to put out right now. If you have anything to promote, you know, website or you selling stuff or whatever, put that on.
Okay. Well, first of all, I look for giving it to the Canaanland Moors and anyone that thinks you can do this is beloved, right? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, tell them to repeat that. It's on.
We're getting it's an interesting glitch again.
Tell them to repeat it off. Tell them to repeat it off.
Just change your position a little bit for the phone right now.
Can you repeat?
Yeah.
I'm moving back.
All right. Yeah, you're moving on.
Okay. See?
Let me call you back.
All right. Thank you. What's going on, brother?
Wow.
You better?
They're trying something. But we can get done.
Okay, first of all, again, I'd like to say the biggest one with you, brother, in the Canaanland Force, for allowing me to be here again, and giving me the opportunity to share information, you know, and look out for my DVD that's coming out on Dope Street Fighting. I'm working on that right now, I keep posting. I'm finishing up these with a milestone, which is a little book that I'm putting together. Hopefully, you know, I'll keep posting on that too. Other than that, man, you know, just stay focused, man, continue to do what you do. Y'all do what y'all do. I love y'all because y'all stay active, man, you're not passive, and that's what it is, and soon or later, I will get up there. That's my word.
Love.
Peace and love. Islam.
Give it up for the
I need somebody, anybody. I need a greens and dogfish. You got it, right? You know, I've been going on
Don't you get that light? It's love. Yeah, yo, so we gotta move the table so everybody and everybody go. Yeah, I'll make you know. All right. So before we finish up, we got 3 things to do. One, all the chairs or whatever, you just stack them up against that wall like this. 2, we have to make sure, you know, we clean up everything how we left it up in here. And 3, we wanna read something. I forgot about it. Actually, I didn't forget. I just had to hold out till the end to do this part. But we had somebody very young took it on themselves to write a letter to Noble Drew Ali for his birthday. Right? So we're just going to read this letter just so we can, again, show and prove how moral science and the young generations are like this. Right? Dear Noble Drew Ali, thank you, Noble Drew Ali, for your teachings about the higher and lower self and nationality. Your teachings have brought us love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in our lives. What I want to say today is praise Allah, Islam. Name Khadija L, December 24, 2014. So, you want to acknowledge our little sister, you're going to have to come up here and get some props. There's their certificate. The last thing we'll do is we want to get, after we get everything cleared up, we want to get a group picture like we do every year. We're going to be taking our group picture right here. So
what time do we have?
We're in here until it's 7 o'clock. We got to be out of here. So we have about 40 minutes or something like that.
Okay, well, let's get all the chairs up first and this side of the
Well, just announcement.
Quick announcement. You want to come?
Quick announcement. Brother, just if you haven't already, we still have the tables open, so please support the representatives that are here today. Also, if you haven't given a donation as yet, just leave the food, get that in, and that's it.
Islam.